2, 1. And hello, everybody. We are live. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to our stream. We are Dicecream Sandwich.
Is this the new NPC voice?
Yeah.
Strahd's Ascension voice.
Yeah.
I'm making scary now.
He grows wings and he starts talking like this.
I'm gonna get you.
I'm gonna get you. Yeah, so extra.
Secretly, Strahd is a drag performer.
Not so secretly. So, diving straight into tonight's stream, I believe we have some awesome, fantastic news. First off, hi everybody in the chat. Thanks for joining in.
Hey!
Checking us out. Yeah. And I believe we have some pretty cool news. Do we want to start with that or end with that?
The bag giveaway?
Yeah.
We start with that.
Yeah.
Not everyone is PST.
Yeah, it's true. Not everyone's PST, so it'd be nice
so
to
for all you Mountain and Eastern time folks. So the winner for the Enhanced Brand DM bag giveaway has the Twitch handle Rocker Soul 2000.
Rocker Soul 2000?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
2000?
Yes,
Like...
the number 2000. Just like a new age blender from the year 1999.
Yeah. Oh.
Rocker Soul 2000.
Yeah, sorry. I just really love the idea someone made like an extremely long handle. Like they just went like full, like all of the characters.
Yeah, but you've won Rocker Soul 2000. Thanks so much for everyone who entered. We got like 80 comments in that giveaway.
Yeah, it's pretty solid.
Great.
Pretty sweet, and hopefully we'll work it with Enhanced Brand again soon to do another giveaway, so look out for that. But thank you.
But we're working hard to find more giveaways for you guys all the time.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've done some pretty good ones so far, I have to admit. Yeah, Kevin really letting his marketing muscles show in that respect.
Pretty great.
So awesome. Huge thank you to Enhanced Brand for that, and also huge thank you to Enhanced Brand for making my life a whole hell of a lot easier with the bag, because I get to actually use it on a daily basis. Literally daily sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, it's awkward, but it's amazing, and I love the bag, and it's been so great. Seriously, having customizable compartments is so huge as a DM.
Yeah.
I can make my gigantic freaking book compartment huge, but then not lose out on all the cords and stuff that can hit.
I made another post on our Instagram stories. I think it's on a feed post as well, and on TikTok, just like sort of going through all the different pockets and stuff. And the best comment, that was like the reoccurring comment on those posts, were like, not enough dice to put in that bag. So like, I still can't have room for my dice. Sorry, I can't use it. It's pretty funny. But
no,
anyway.
as somebody who carries around sometimes upwards of 30 sets of dice, I can tell you that it is pretty substantial.
Yeah.
So,
Cool.
It's been awesome there. Congratulations to
Rocker Soul 2000.
Rocker Soul 2000.
That's our party name.
Yeah.
Rocker Soul 2000
That's party
in the
name.
mix.
Oh my god. Can we do some
we need
like
we need like
a playlist.
We do. We really do.
Great, my evening's going great, thank you.
Yeah. We also want to let everybody know we've got our Teespring account set up as well, so if you're interested in grabbing some merch, we did upload some cool new stuff with our brand new logo, courtesy of Jesse Shaw.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, Kevin, shall we... Oh! The background screens.
Oh, you've got
Yeah.
I was
Because I decided to do that.
Yeah, we made them our wallpaper.
Yeah, we made them our wallpaper. I finally got rid of my Millennium Falcon that I've had for the better part of 3.5 years, so... Yeah.
I wasn't sure about what was going to happen. I was like, are you showing us your Tinder account? Like,
Guys, I'm back on.
I'm like, did you give us all new phones from one of your like cool phone convention
I was like,
maybe.
we got something really...
Yeah.
And I mean, my phone background is Gillian Addison.
Nice.
That's fair.
correct. Mine is my cat, because I'm a cat lady.
I guess Kevin and I are the only ones who care about that.
If somebody sent me a phone screen background, maybe I would have uploaded it.
Yeah, I'm going to make them available on the Instagram stories, I think. Going to post them for snappable wallpaper stuff.
We should make some rainbow ones too.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
But yeah, other than that, check it out. We've got our links up. We're going to be showing, we've got our Teespring on there, and then we've also got a nice little affiliate with Adventure Dice, if you're interested in picking up some new dice. Kaylee.
Okay, I always make this really long, so I'm going to make it real quick tonight, because we got a cool
we
event
got
to
lots
get
of
to. Adventure Dice shit. They're local. They're awesome peeps. They're selling right now a dice set, the proceeds of which are going to like cancer charity.
Yeah.
Use code Dicecream for 10% off. Free shipping in Canada and really reasonable fixed shipping to the US. AdventureDice.com.
That's right.
That's it.
.ca.
Yeah.
No, that's right.
That's it. I will say actually, like, I ended up looking at those dice and I was really kind of curious. I'm just like, ooh, I have to. Oh. No, I have so many. I have 27 sets of unopened dice that I have not used.
Well, give those away.
It's not healthy.
I was going to say,
Fuck you. You're not taking my dice.
do you guys know of any, like, local D&D, like, groups or like school stuff that you can like donate old dice to, like dice that you're not using? That would be something.
Boys and girls clubs, fantastic
Okay, yeah.
for stuff like that.
Also, I would say if we actually have that question, we should talk to like the local like game stores because they probably know.
Yeah.
All right.
Things
Awesome.
to do, but
Things to do.
right
But right now, we're going to go ahead and dive into tonight's episode, the first real episode inside Castle Ravenloft, descending further and further into the keep. We'll go ahead and see you guys in 1 minute.
Whoa!
Moist depth.
Bernie 2020.
Yeah.
And we are back, having broken Amanda. So
tensions are high already.
Tensions are already high, so it's
A cackling fever has washed over you as you enter Ravencroft.
Spooky.
Ravencroft.
The courtesy
Ravenloft.
of Jesse I.
Ravencroft is in Salem and Marvel.
Underwhelming.
Yes, it's true. So
I got an 18 first roll.
Nice.
Mm.
Yeah, I should
Cue
find out-
spooky music.
I should find out who's rolling well today.
Do you need more
Oh, no.
dice? I will.
oh
do.
no, the audio and the
Oh yeah, I have
things
some
are
dice here.
connect.
Oh, yeah. I suppose
I was just gonna like steal it.
Remember
Wanna
borrow.
take- Just I have extra sets in there.
Oh my god.
Alrighty.
All of the dice.
I mean, there's
Just connecting into our speaker here, and then we'll be good to go.
Use D10s, D6s, D8s are my jam.
I don't have any of those trick
Jam.
dice anymore that only roll 20s so tonight.
Do you have any extra D?
Speaking of custom dice.
There are lots of D6s.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can we commission an adventure dice and just do like one that's only 20s?
Maybe we can. Who
There's
knows?
like an 18 on one side, and you're like, oh, I got an 18.
Yeah. Oh my god. That's
the
so
DC
exciting.
was 38.
I'm so sorry.
All right, we're good. So
That's what you think.
should have our music here. There we go. So
It's that too.
awkward crotch.
Okay, dial it in, y'all.
Dialing in.
That's not
So
likely.
I put that as a song. I'm like,
last we left off, the party having made their way to the village of Vallaki one more time, closing up any loose ends that were there, picking up the last of their compatriots to bring with them to the castle of Ravenloft in an attempt to finally end Strahd's hold over the lands of Barovia and their own banishment, essentially, to this plane. They made their way across the lands of Barovia, eventually finding their way to the gates of Ravenloft, passing through, entering into the outer keep of the Ravenloft castle, before finding their way around and discovering a very interesting ledge, off of which the Doctor's imp flew 120 feet straight down, in against the mountainside, and found a very dirty window looking out over the lands.
We were on the Legend of Glory.
The window was cleaned. Rick looked inside to find a very rage-filled Strahd. Something that he had been intent before that he had never been one much to show emotion since his transformation, but apparently something seemed to be peeking through, seemingly in secret.
we got his goat.
Deciding to make your way in, you eventually found a nice little carriage house, a gorgeous black carriage under which was hiding a single zombie, easily dispatched by the party, to be used later on for real estate. As it were.
Hell yeah. It's free real estate.
Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
Just back into the store close in style.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I got too excited.
You also made your way out around the side of the castle keep to the side entrance, a seemingly off-the-beaten-path door rather than going through the main gates, sidestepping whatever may have laid for you beyond that. But pushing open the door, it creaked loudly under Les's heavy boot, foot landing on the inside of the keep itself, and now you find yourselves in that room. So,
Flip-flops.
The boots then.
reiterating what I had said last time.
Oh,
Stepping inside the cramped entrance. Dim light filters in through a dirt-caked window on your left, just beside the door you pushed open. Everything in the room is coated with dust, including a large, heavy table in the center of the floor. A thick book lies open upon the table, with an inkwell and quill set beside it. There is a heavily cracked wooden door to your right, hanging loose on its hinges, and a staircase on your left that plunges down into darkness. On each side of the staircase stands a skeletal figure draped in gleaming chainmail, sagging at attention and wielding a rusty halberd.
Noise.
So, what would you
I
like
will look
to
at
do?
that book.
Want to look at that book?
Hell yeah, I do.
Okay.
But I think before we jump into this room, maybe we should take out the gym note. Halberd dudes?
Well,
Double check in
how far
case-
away are they
can
from
we-
the book?
From the book, better part of 25 feet. They're pretty far away from it. They're right at the edge of the staircase, and the book is the room is about 40 by.
We are
excuse me,
passed
40 by
without
20.
trace if you want to sneak. But
I'll read that book.
Okay. Taking a couple of steps inside, leaning over the table, you see the book.
in the
Good.
meantime, I believe is
Action.
like holding an arrow knocked and ready to go.
Holding an arrow, knocked and ready to go.
Pointed at the figures if they move towards us.
Yeah, we'll say I
Without
have
touching the room.
To do that.
God damn it, what is it? The
Spiritual weapon.
not spiritual weapon.
The fire one?
Yes. Oh, I'm
The
blanking.
fire one.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. Let's keep going. I got a cantrip.
I got a cantrip for this.
Sorry about that, everybody. If there was a bit of a delay on the stream, I just realized that I wasn't.
God damn.
wired in.
I've only cast it a million times. It's not good.
Why is this not connecting?
Is the screen not connected?
No, it is, but it's there we go. Okay, we're good. We're wired in now. Sorry about that. Maybe a bit of a delay there. So, Doctor, looking over the book.
Heck yeah.
Leaning over the table, you see the book is the truest definition of ancient. Looking brittle and weathered from use, but the ink in the well is fresh, the quill brand new. It currently lies open, flipped roughly halfway through, and at the top of each page the message, "Please register for your own convenience and that of your next of kin," is scribed in identical letters throughout the book.
This fucking nerd.
So, Joke's point?
Yeah, it appears so.
Who is written in
Are there any names written in it?
There are hundreds of names. You would imagine that the book itself is probably close to 400, 500 pages, and each line of the book has got a different name scribbled in, almost in unintelligible language. But you are free to flip through the book if you'd like to.
Are our names in there?
Your
Flip through
names.
the book? Why not?
The listing does end. Currently, it looks like there isn't any more names that have been written in. Your names do not appear to be written in there.
Yeah, of course. Are these
Should we sign in, guys?
wedding guests?
Oh.
Are these
Yeah.
the people he's married, or are these
Your best
something
friend.
else?
People who
There's
come
Paul.
to the castle.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a
Your
great
best
point.
man.
Is this a wedding registry, or is this? Does
It
say for
appears to
guests?
just be a guest registry. People who enter in, but the names themselves ring absolutely no significance to you.
Irina's name
Flipping through the book as best you can tell, none of the names are recognizable to you in any way.
Do any of the names? Sorry.
Okay.
Do any of the names kind of sound as though they are like sword coast names? Like, do they sound like they have been from another?
Make a history check.
Can I assist?
Sure, I'll say that's fine. You have advantage.
I have no idea what my history.
It's plus your intelligence.
Oh well, I
Are you-
rolled a natural 20
Hey!
and an 18. So
All right, so overall pretty good.
Yeah.
Looking through, flipping back to the oldest entries and then kind of scrolling through one page after another, not really, but you're recognizing a familiar syntax as to what you've seen in some of the last names of assorted people throughout your time in Barovia.
Okay.
They appear to just be Barovian names of general crees. Nothing specific, nothing Zarevich, nothing of
Everything's
any of the
Zarevich,
burgomaster.
though?
Yeah, nothing of any of the burgomaster
Okay.
last names. Yeah.
Okay.
What are the most recent couple of names that are in there?
Most recent couple of names are.
Sean.
It was him all along.
With Strahd.
Alexander Volnir. And the one before that is Jack Dorn.
Oh.
Dorn.
Do any of
Hey, guys,
any of
what's up?
us
I'm Jack Blaine.
recognize those names? Those two names.
Alexander Volnir sounds familiar.
Yeah, it
does sound
sounds super familiar.
This is the thing: is it sounds familiar, and then you kind of realize most of the names that we've met of people so far
Yeah.
sound kind of
They all sound
familiar.
kind of vaguely
They all
familiar.
vaguely are kind of close to
Whoa.
each other, with the exception of the Keepers of the Feather. They seem
Okay.
to be the ones who have a little bit different
Is
names.
there a pen in the book?
There's a quill and an inkwell set beside it.
You do you, man. I'm not going to stop you.
I don't think we should.
Risky to
I think that
Sort of.
likely will have some magic upon it that alerts Strahd
A guest
that
book?
people have entered his castle.
I mean, ultimately,
Dear Strahd, I am here right now.
Are,
if we're,
Yeah.
if we're trying to be sneaky, then perhaps we should do our best not to.
we can sign it on the way out. Normally, like,
Yeah.
you know, if you go somewhere, you kind of say, like, I had a really good time. and
All right,
sign
I
it.
can describe how I decapitate him. Put
Yeah,
his
well-
head on the front of that.
That sounds
Yeah.
like
On the
a
way
good-
out.
Yeah, on the way
You
out.
can fucking piss in this book.
Ha! That's even a better idea.
if everything's not on fire.
Which it might be.
I'd like to go and just kind of listen at the door with off its hinges on the right hand side.
Sure. Listening at the door. Make a perception check.
Can I cast guidance?
Natural 20.
Oh,
Sure. Don't need it.
Oh.
Yeah, listening at the door. Dead silence.
Okay.
No sound, no
Whoa.
smell, nothing coming through on the other side.
Does
I think there's
the stairs go up?
Stairs go down.
on the right
Down.
side as well.
No, so it's door on your right, stairs
Okay.
on your left going down.
Okay, so the door is off its hinges. Can I see anything through the
Sure.
cracks?
I'll say with
or-
that perception check, that's fine. You're able to look through as well. You kind of peek through the cracks a little. You see broken furniture, torn cloth strewn about the area. It's about 20 feet wide, and it kind of extends a little bit past where your vision can go, probably about 30, 40 feet long or so. Dim light comes in from a pair of dirt-caked windows in the corner, kind of essentially directly through the door. But you notice that the massive feature of this is that there is a huge, narrow staircase with no railing ascending on the wall in front of you at least 50 feet up.
And that's going up.
That's going up.
Okay.
And we know Strahd was last seen down.
Down. Yeah, I think
we also don't
likely
know
this
what's-
is our not our direction. I think we need to go down. The stairs go down. This goes up.
We're busting
Agreed.
basements. Let's go. The basement thing, it's a theme.
Busted makes me
Strahd.
feel good.
Have
it
the
does,
bears
Leslie.
at the other door
Leslie.
moved at all since we've been in this room?
No movement that you've seen.
Should we like throw a rock at it?
I could just fly an arrow at them.
There's that too.
Can we?
At what, the
The armor.
right?
Shall
To
we
see
all
if it moves.
Okay.
ready?
Yeah,
Get ready first, maybe.
Should we split our things?
I'd like to.
Have my great sword
Yeah.
ready.
Cool.
Sure. Prepare any weapons.
Yeah.
Leith, you
All
knocked
about
them
to attack this empty
I already have it knocked.
suit of
Hey,
armor.
we've been attacked by a suit of armor before.
Oh, yeah.
More than once.
I should say
I'm
draw.
hoping it's empty
Yeah,
because
okay.
now people leave.
I will crack some
Alright,
brass.
if you're all ready to go and this is the way we need to go, this is the only way to do
Alright,
it safely. We have 25 feet of distance, so I fire.
Okay.
Fire now. Ting! Straight through the armor into the wall behind.
Nothing happens.
No movement of any kind.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. Let's.
We
That's
can't
just
see
what's
what's
on there.
That's free armor.
inside the armor or the.
It appears to just be skeletal bones, and kind of like looking at it a little, getting a little closer, you kind of see wires running through as if the skeletons themselves have been wire pinned up there, and then the armor is kind of holding everything together a little.
Is
He's
it,
such a fucking weirdo.
is it good armor?
It's a haunted house, guys.
It's full plate now.
Does anyone need full plate mail?
Luster.
No, I'm good. I got my shiny,
Mithril.
nice.
So what else need? Anything
Oh,
really
how about
It
special?
looks pretty bog
I
standard,
felt pretty
but
good.
now just a giant arrow hole through the center
Are you
of it.
do you have plate mail already?
I think so.
I got some heavy armor. I know that.
It would be plate.
Yeah, because there was enough plate mail in the Amber Temple that anyone who
Yeah,
wanted
yeah,
it
yeah.
could have taken it.
We played it up.
All right.
Alright,
The old guy.
What's our marching order?
you and I first,
Yeah.
and we're gonna scout a few feet ahead.
Okay.
Down the steps.
I'll turn off the
Sensor.
sun sword.
Maybe just hang on to it. but
Do
keep it.
you are you using the rapier?
I was planning on it if we get ambushed
Or
because
are
I
you
gave.
using the scythe
The scimitar.
scimitar?
My preference is the rapier.
Then keep using that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say just so that we can keep. If you weren't using it,
Mm-hmm.
I would use that.
Oh, you mean to keep stealthy?
Just keep. Bleh. Yep. Words.
Just steep kelping.
Well, use it. You can use it for now until we get closer to Strahd because I can fire arrows. I do have a second sword. It's just not. I don't have any magical weapons on me right now, but take the rapier for now. So you're right. We need the element of surprise.
Yeah. Okay. I think that will be helpful.
For now, I pass this back to Laura.
So, one thing of note here, Sun Sword
Oh.
is an attunement item. It takes 45 minutes to attune to an item.
So is this, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's attunement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's
So you'd have to
attunement
take an hour
required.
to
Yeah,
swap
no,
it.
that's
No,
fine. That's
it's
totally
like
fine.
a- Yeah,
I'll pass Allura the, I already gave
I've got-
the short swords, but
I've got
give you-
daggers.
Well, I can lend you the scimitar if you want to use that instead. It's not attuned, it's not
Okay.
magical.
That works. Yeah.
So it's adamantine, so no bonuses to any damage or anything, but
No.
it is a little bit at least better than a regular weapon.
It's D6 plus your proficiency bonus for damage.
Is that strength or dex though?
It's dex.
So it'll still be 1d20 plus 4.
So it's a d20 plus proficiency,
Yeah.
plus dex to hit,
Okay.
and then damage is a d6 plus dex.
Okay.
Oh yeah, sorry. I thought it was proficiency because my dex and my proficiency are the same.
1d6. 1d6, that's it for damage?
d6 plus dex.
Okay. I mean, that's still pretty good.
Yeah.
So.
Alrighty. So making your way down the staircase on your left.
Yeah. So everyone, I think, as we decided, Allura and I are gonna go a little bit ahead, but not much, just enough that we can kind of stealth
Mhm.
Yeah.
separately.
10
And
seconds.
You have your goggles on, so
Yeah.
you can go in the dark.
Can I be right at the back, kind of keeping?
You have the sending stone, and so do I. So if we, I mean, we can only use them once a day, but if there's a really emergency, then I can let you know.
Thank you.
Cool.
I want to kind of be like the defense on the other side.
Okay.
So at the top of the stairs. Okay, good to know.
Get those
Yeah,
goggles
I'm-
on.
So,
I'll be the top and you can be the bottom.
looking down the stairs do descend about 40 or 50 feet down, so there's more than enough room for people to be partially down the stairs.
Okay.
The hall stands in creeping silence, with heavy beams supporting a sagging 10-foot-high ceiling. Dense fog clings to the floor, obscuring everything that lies 3 feet above the ground and below, essentially completely out of view. As you reach the bottom of the stairs, directly on your left is an iron portcullis gate, beyond which lies a dozen huge wooden casks with rusted iron bands. On your right, 4 single doors lie closed on each side of a regular hallway, while a large set of iron-banded double doors stand closed at the far end. As the fog is disturbed with your movement, I need both of you to make stealth checks for me, please.
Plus 10.
There's a floor. I can't do a map. Just went down the floor.
That's not bad, guys.
Could you do like another
Yeah, I think I should.
method
Hey, that's not bad.
to be like lower? Just trying to think of how moles have maps.
Yeah. It's all isometric.
35.
29.
29? Okay. The fog disturbs a little bit, but you kind of place your feet over the top of it and slide them straight down through the fog, eventually touching onto the ground. Looking around, on your left you see the barrels, on your right you see that there's a little bit of a glint of a lantern kind of hanging in midair, but that's about it.
Just hanging in there.
Actually, with your vision, you would be able to see that there does appear to be a hand holding it, but it's kind of it's disappearing into one of the side doors, and then the door just gets closed in behind it.
Could I see what the hand looked like?
Make a perception check.
Lovely. Spooky.
Oh god, it's Charles.
14.
14. It's a little bit tough to tell. It looks humanoid. Fingers, a thumb, and then it just kind of disappears in behind one of the
Sorry,
doors.
in the row of 4 doors, how far, which one away from us was it?
So I'll put this onto the stream and I'll send it to you guys on Slack so you can see what it looks like.
Exciting.
Slack.
For more premium Slack content, sign up for our Patreon. We have a couple tiers. $5 gets you Kevin's socks.
What? Which
I
ones?
mean-
Yeah, you'll figure it out.
Okay.
Doesn't matter as long as they've been worn.
Oh.
Hey, there's a market for you.
I mean, there is,
I'm
but
not
I
gonna-
feel like you would actually do that for
gonna
the stream.
I'm not gonna yuck anyone's yum.
No,
Yeah.
no, you do you.
100%.
Actually, I love
So that's
it.
been sent on Slack. So it's a little bit tough to see, but you can zoom in a
Looks
little.
like a dick.
Okay.
Looks like a dick.
Okay, so there's...
So all the casks are on your right, on your left.
Uh-huh.
There's 3 doors on the wall directly on your right.
Okay.
It's kind of one really close to you, one about halfway down the hall, and one at the far end. One mostly at the far end on your left side, and then the double doors are on the far side as well. The map is not great, unfortunately.
That's okay. So the double doors are on the left
In
side
the
of
mid,
them?
in the
Or
middle.
the end of the hall?
They're
So
in the
we're
middle.
all just
Okay.
hiding in the stairwell while they're
Yeah.
fidgeting.
You essentially just see them down at the bottom, just looking a little bit on both
And the
directions.
hand went through door 1, 2, 3?
Door 2.
Door 2.
Yeah.
Alright, I'll just quickly, quietly tell her that I saw something going into that second door, but I think probably, as we agreed earlier, we're trying to just get downstairs as quickly as possible. Maybe just the double doors at the end is the right way to go. What do you think?
I think with my history, knowing kind of how castles are built and laid out, would I think that the best way to get down to where we are trying to get to, double doors, most fancy doors, that's kind of where I should be going.
Make a history check.
23?
23.
An art history check.
You kind of think about it a little, and you kind of remember back, and castles are weird.
They are.
Like, there's doors that are really ornate for no real reason. Like, it's just the entrance to a banquet hall, right? Just to show off a little bit as somebody steps in. There's a chance that it could lead down there. The iron bands on them, maybe you're a little bit telling them that, like, there's something that might be a little more important behind this, but otherwise, you're not really sure. You could go in any direction and still reach the way down.
Okay.
The other thing we could do was try and follow whatever was going down the lantern, but it's a little riskier. I'm trying to be a bit safer.
Should we go and listen at the door?
Let's listen at every door.
Okay.
So I'll kind of motion to the party to come forward and kind of just like wait behind the corner before they turn into this hallway with the doors.
I'll get all of you to make stealth checks for me too, please.
You guys are all passed
Here
with
we
a trace,
go.
so you're all
Rolls.
by 10.
Dice,
And we've
dice,
got-
dice.
Oh boy.
Actually,
I've got 3 NPCs to roll stealth for too.
Hey.
Oh no.
Oh wait, we do it at disadvantage.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was like trying to get into my phone. It's not recognizing me.
Oh.
We'll give you goggles.
Okay, so stealth, you two are fine. Les?
9.
9.
And it's
That's
yours.
with your plus 10?
How is it
Oh,
9?
sorry.
19.
19.
14.
Forgot
14.
about
22.
the
22.
pass without the trace.
Yeah.
Well, it's at least 24.
At least 24.
That's a
Okay.
good one.
So.
Esmeralda and Casimir are fine. Victor, not so much.
Fucking guy.
Natural 1, and he's got a -1, so he trips and falls down the stairs and
Wait,
just
he has a
clatters
plus
to the
10
ground.
as well?
Doesn't
He does,
matter.
but
It's
still,
still,
like,
it's still a
9.
10 for him going down the
Make
stairs. So
room
he,
to, like, catch him at all.
Victor.
not really. He's just kind of in the middle, and he just kind of trips over his robes into the darkness. He is a human after all. He has no dark vision. There is no light down here, so
Oh, well.
he's just kind of slowly making his way down.
Oh yeah.
The Scooby gang all comes
The main
upstairs.
group.
So as he kind of reaches the bottom, you just hear him go, "Ow, sorry, everybody."
Are you okay?
Excuse me.
It's your funeral, dude.
Wow.
As the fog is disturbed, the door opens again and the lantern becomes visible, and a shadow lurches across the ceiling as a dark figure shuffles purposely down the hallway towards you. Its warped head barely bobbing above the hog with a bit of lantern light. What do you do?
What does it look like?
You take a second, and as the light reveals more of the figure, you see a stooped, weary, hunched person standing barely over 4 feet tall. The left side of its face is covered with rough black lizard scales, while a pair of ears akin to a panther perk upright on top of its head. Draped around its neck is a thin braid of rope that hangs with some weight, although disappearing below the fog. And the hand holding the lantern is partially covered in patches of thick black fur, though the arm and hand do still appear to be humanoid.
Let's parlay, guys.
What kind of demeanor does it have on it?
Purposeful stride, but not aggressive per se. It's holding a lantern above its head.
Okay. I'm for now just gonna. I'm invisible in the dark. Just gonna cling to a wall.
Sure. Just shuffle up against a wall as best you can.
Yeah.
And the figure.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the figure kind of starts to make its way down the hall, and then just kind of looks up and then looks up the staircase at 4 people, just standing on the stairs, and just you there.
Hello,
Hi.
friend.
Quiet.
Hello. Good to see you.
Guests. Yes, the guests. Guests.
Yes, guest.
Guests. Yes, the guests. Why have you left your room?
We were trying to find the bathroom.
I need help with
I drink.
things.
I
You
look
must
big.
return. You must return.
He hobbles even closer
Yeah.
and holds the lantern as high as possible, kind of squinting to look at each of your faces.
Below
Swedish.
crotch level.
Silly guests. Forgetting where they sleeps.
You know, silly guests. We're just so silly all the
We're
time.
just like,
Come. I am Cyrus, the
Hi, Cyrus. Good to meet
caretaker of the keep. Please, let me take you back up.
And he reaches for, in this case because he's prone, he reaches for Victor's hand and kind of grabs onto the hand and kind of helps Victor to his feet, and then just kind of starts to make his way down the hallway, tugging Victor behind him.
Like further down the hallway.
Further down the hallway, yeah,
Okay,
towards
yeah,
the
let's
direction
keep
that he came from.
I mean,
oh, towards the second door.
Just down the hallway, and you're not sure which door that he's going to.
I think this.
should we follow?
Yeah, absolutely. He seems chill.
I think are we gonna try and get down as quickly as possible?
You might know the best way.
That's true.
All right.
And if we get on this guy's good side, what if he decides to do a little on his friend? Strahd.
Good point.
Try to convince
Okay,
him.
might also lead us to other prisoners who can help us.
All right. Follow, and then
Actually, we're
Allura.
metagaming right now, so
Yeah, sorry.
I'm following.
So you're following?
I think Elise would just wait to see what the rest of the party who's invisible does, because right now she and Allura are both
Yeah, you're pretty well
stealthed.
hidden.
So we're all well hidden except for these two guys who are just coming forward.
Well, I'm gonna
No.
follow the party
Right.
if this guy is leading them away.
By this point, he's seen everybody coming down the stairs. You two got down there quick enough, and there's enough of a darkness that you can kind of hide up against the wall as best you can. But everybody else is pretty clearly visible. You were standing on a staircase.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. There's the 4 of you plus the 3 people that you're traveling with, so it's not a small group.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm following. I'm following old Cyrus.
That's where.
He
Yeah.
sounds chill.
All right.
I think I would take the doctor's lead in this and kind of
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't got to appear as threats just yet, guys.
Exactly.
Do we want
Alright.
Strahd to know there's
He
weakness?
already knows we're here.
All right.
Alright.
Let's go.
So,
Yeah.
following
Also,
the
you'll
figure
know
who
if
introduced
we need
himself
it.
as Cyrus, the lantern floats down the mist as Cyrus makes his way to the door on the far left, just before the set of double doors, opening it to reveal a dusty, 10-foot wide, 30-foot long corridor, the end of which has a web-filled stairway further descending into darkness. Cyrus strides forward and stands in the middle of the hall.
Come, closer. Just here, please.
And he pulls Victor alongside with him as Victor is now standing in the middle of the hall.
Cyrus, what's down those stairs?
Nothing fun.
Well, I mean, we're guests here. We're just...
Nothing fun for guests.
Okay, that's fair.
Come, stand here.
And he gestures to stand kind of in the middle of the hall and get everybody a little cramped together.
I'm not going in there.
Yeah,
No.
so I'd have followed, but like not let him get me into the center.
Okay.
Like I would have been with Elise, watching and not letting him know. Like only moving after he was not looking where I was and keeping to the shadows, keeping hidden.
That's fine.
Yeah, I think we're keeping hidden.
So it's more so the 7 of you. So you've got Esmeralda. So he's got a pretty good grip on Victor. And he's
Yeah,
kind of
of
pulled him
course he
along. Victor's just like, I don't really know what to do, and he's just following this little creepy half human, half dog thing.
This is familiar.
And he just kind of stands in the middle of the room, and nothing's happening.
Does
to him.
Cyrus look like the creatures we encountered at the Abbey of
Very
Saint
similar,
Markovia?
but more well fed and more equally crazy,
So
but
it's Union.
definitely equally crazy, but definitely more purpose to his existence.
But the way that he's been like crafted or put together.
Very
looks the same.
similar.
Okay.
Yeah.
I suggest
I'm gonna. I don't want to stand in the space, but I just want to get. I want to get close enough that I can keep an eye on what he's up to.
Yeah, I kind of
I suggest don't let him take Victor.
yeah,
Oh,
I kind
it's
of go like I quite Victor and I are usually the ones who hold hands.
Oh.
And he just kind of like looks around.
Who is Victor?
This person that you are
Oh!
holding.
Oh, okay. He's yours?
And he just releases the hand and passes it over to
Thank
you.
you. And I kind of grab Victor and just.
And he just kind of like, and like as he gets led away from this little 4.5-ish foot
Does
tall-
anything happen as he passes over the space? That...
No.
Okay.
Nothing happens.
Okay. Probably. What's the hall look like? Are there doors in the area?
No doors. It's just 10 feet wide, about 35 feet long, and then a staircase at the far end that descends down. And Victor's just kind of standing in the middle of the room. And you do notice that he reaches over and he grabs a stool and kind of picks it up and holds it as well.
Victor picks up a stool?
Sorry, no, Cyrus does.
Oh, that makes more
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of move towards Victor and kind of take his hand as I said I was going to.
Cyrus, remind me, we're still getting our bearings. What's on this floor of the castle again?
The cooks, all of the servants, all of the food that is prepared to bring up to the guests.
Of course.
So the kitchen is downstairs.
No, the kitchen is here. I was just in the kitchen.
Ah, very well. So we're safe to assume that the door he was just in was the kitchen.
Second
perhaps?
door. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I guess that makes sense because there's wine or barrels of.
What are we serving up today, friend?
Fantastic stew.
Oh, Leslie loves stew.
Oh, yes, lots of fresh vegetables, meats. Fantastic.
Oh, that's.
I can bring you up a bowl after I show you to your room.
Yes, of course. You were leading us to our rooms.
Yes, please, right here. We must go up.
Oh.
That's like my neck breaking move.
Did you give that to
I
me?
No, well, that
Signaling the
was-
neck break.
No, it was more like a commentary to you guys. I'm not trying to tell you.
I mean,
I'm just
not
saying.
to step too far out of game right now, but it might be super handy to have an elevator access if there is one.
But we don't want to, like. Okay, I don't want to metagame too much, but we're trying to just go directly down without getting too waylaid.
Yes, but we're gonna have to get out.
Okay. And you know what? Elif is holding back, waiting to see what the rest of the party, who's already visible, does.
I'm like,
You know?
I'm gonna start doing like some
Some karate moves.
no, some like sign thieves can't,
Yeah.
and then remember
Nobody
that
understands.
Elif does not know
I want to
thieves
learn
can't.
that. You can teach me.
And I'd love to teach you, but
Yeah.
later.
So I'm gonna stop you.
Yeah.
At this point, Cyrus is like a little agitated.
Are you coming to your rooms or not?
I kind of.
You don't have to.
And he just kind of wanders over to the other side and slams the stool down and just kind of in a huff like parts everybody and starts to just walk through.
Okay. Well, thank you, Cyrus.
What direction is he going?
He's just going back into the kitchen. Or what he described as the
That's
kitchen.
right, you guys.
Yeah. So he's just kind of passing through the door so that everybody just kind of parts to get out of his way, I'm guessing.
So he said the stairs down that hallway are not good for guests.
Not for guests, they're not any fun.
That sounds pretty much what we're in the market for.
I mean, yeah. I wouldn't mind saying this lavishly appointed guest rooms, but you know, that's just me.
Check those out after.
Yeah.
So
After we murder
has
Strahd,
he
we'll
gone
go
back
to
into
the
his kitchen?
Well, he's essentially pushing past all of you at the moment. I'm assuming nobody's stopping him.
No.
You do you, Cyrus.
And he just passes into the hallway and just kind of pushes open the door and just turns back in. And then slams the door behind him.
Okay.
You do see that there is a fair bit of firelight inside that
Yeah.
room, a lot of light. You would imagine there's probably a fire and something bubbling over the top of it.
Allura and Elith are probably near the first door. Can we hear anything coming out of that door?
You hear crackling flame. That's
From the
about
first
it.
door?
Yeah, from the
Okay.
first door. It appears to
Okay.
just be a second entrance into the
Okay.
same kitchen.
How about we just make a break for the downstairs part?
We can, but I'm just trying to see if we can hear anything from any of these rooms.
Yeah, Alith and I would have just kind of quietly walked past each door to
Yeah.
see if we could hear anything
The
in
third
each
door
of those doors.
and the double-barreled or double doored.
Double door.
Yeah.
So the first two doors, you hear the same crackling fire. You imagine it's probably some kind of kitchen environment, based on what his description was at least. What a kitchen looks like, you have no idea. The next door along... Hang on 1 second. No sound coming from that one, as best you can tell, and same thing from the double doors, no sound coming from those either. It appears to be a fairly deserted floor for the most part, aside from him.
I think we keep heading down.
Stairs that he showed.
Yeah, we might as well.
Yeah.
Does anybody need a guide? As I disguise self into Cyrus.
Oh.
Can you change your height?
By a foot.
Okay, he's 4'1", so he's way
Oh, yes,
shorter
I'm
than
a
you.
little.
Yeah, so you're a little bit taller than him.
Can you disguise yourself as Cyrus wearing platform?
Can you disguise
Yeah.
Rick as him?
Rick
is like.
Rick is not
this big.
self.
That's not. That's true.
Well, I'm gonna shift back from Cyrus and just be like, haha, fun trick.
How tall you grew?
Waka waka.
Should we leave him like a note or something? Just say like, hey, thanks for back at our rooms or what?
Well, no, he'll be fine.
Okay, let's
He'll be
go.
fine. You want to give him a rocky talkie so you can touch him?
I'm gonna slide on that one.
Okay,
I can
yeah.
hit him up if I want.
Yeah, yeah.
I would suggest as we go towards these stairs, just avoid that space that he was talking about in case whatever's there activates and we get separated.
So the hallway is 10 feet wide. He's kind of standing on kind Okay, so
Or the space that he indicated.
yeah, just to give you a bit of a reference here.
Didn't even know that Castle Ravenloft had guests.
We were.
I mean,
we started out as guests
we
of
were
Castle
guests,
Ravenloft.
Castle Ravenloft.
That's its new name. I'm sorry.
I mean,
I don't like
It's
raisins.
a pretty straightforward one.
Oh, I do.
So you can think of that as the entrance to where you guys stepped through and where he kind of pushed past you. He was standing here, and then the staircase is on the far side, right over there, and it kind of curves down to the left.
Well, he moved the stool. Maybe the stool has something to do with accessing the elevator, or maybe there needs to be some kind of word spoken. Doctor, you know about
Can I look
more
up?
magical.
Yeah, I know about that. Magic's a thing.
Can I look on the ceiling? Like, was he just like gonna get on the stool and pull something?
Make perception check.
Can I cast guidance on myself for that?
Sure. Yeah, you're actively thinking about it.
Tap on the shoulder.
You got this, buddy. You're good. You're good. You're so good. You're such a good
I
guy.
love self-guidance.
So that
It's so
is
funny.
17.
17. Yeah, you notice that there are small seams on the ceiling and on the floor, and you would surmise that the middle section of the hallway, about a 20-foot long section, isn't attached to the rest of the hall.
Okay. Yeah, let's.
So it's an elevator.
Yes.
Or a kind of dumbwaiter between the floors, perhaps.
Yeah, that's the one. That's what would be the more appropriate term for the setting.
Well, if you're still invisible, technically, at least.
Well, not invisible, just
Yeah.
Well, hidden for
super well hidden.
Yeah.
You notice what it is, Leaf, Doctor. Can you see, like, or do you know what kind of things to trigger this? Like, in the past?
How big is the space?
So you can only see this side of it. You don't know how far down it goes, but it
No, but
starts.
across till the end like it sounds like there's a hole in the floor and then there's the stairs down beyond that. Is that not accurate?
No. So imagine. This is a really weird description. Imagine a gigantic square,
Yeah.
right? It's 10 feet by 10 feet by 10 feet.
Got it.
That extends down the hallway as something that is just not attached to the rest of the walls. Like, it's literally an elevator.
Yeah, it's an elevator.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, he was able to stand on it without immediately moving.
Well, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Is like clearly it's not like a trap door or nothing.
Yeah.
It's just you reach up and maybe you do a thing to trigger on the walls. Maybe. I mean, somebody who. I mean, you know what? Let's take a look. See. Let's see if we can find maybe switches on the walls.
Sure. Who's taking a look for that?
Who's really good at looking for
I'll look for
small
things.
details?
Yeah.
All right.
Like
Who's looking for
things?
things? Okay, so you step out into the middle area.
I'll
Are you not
assist.
hidden anymore?
Oh, I thought we were going through the hallway.
We're
So
trying to.
you're going through the hallway to see if you can find any switches or anything that might
Okay.
activate whatever he says, whatever would bring you up. You're essentially looking for that. So is it just you or is it both of you?
I'll assist.
You'll assist? Okay.
At advantage.
Cast guidance? Okay. Yeah, so go ahead and roll an advantage for that.
Let me know if you get
That
over.
was a 22, natural 20.
20
Nice.
So
Nice.
I rolled a natural 20 and then I rolled a 2 on the bluff.
investigation check. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's an. Okay.
You need some
Big math.
really.
Big math.
22 plus.
31.
31.
Oh, yeah.
Looking at the seams and kind of looking inside as best you can, you kind of step in, make your way a little bit further in. Pretty solid walls. You don't find any kind of a mechanism of any kind. You're not entirely sure how this starts.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
Cool. But we've walked inside it and it's not killing us. So.
I
Two of
say
you
we
are
go
stepped
down
inside.
to the bottom steps.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go
Take
with
the
that.
stairs. We need our cardio. Or rodeo.
Want to go
That's
down?
fine.
Let's keep going down.
Go down.
Okay, so you two are in front. Who's following?
Elif kind of comes up
Elif
and
comes.
takes point with Allura again. We'll keep going.
Okay, so you two in front with the doc.
Probably.
I'm behind the
Far back?
NPCs.
Yeah, probably.
You're in the middle-ish?
I'll be with Hope.
Okay. Cool. So, as Allura, Elith, the Doctor, and Les step into the center of this, you hear a heavy as if a weight press has been pushed,
Oh,
and all of a sudden, gigantic iron portcullis gates slam down on both sides, and you all vanish, heading vertically up, leaving the rest of the party downstairs. I need all four of you to make a Constitution saving throw for me,
A
please.
con save?
A con
How
save.
did none of us check for traps?
I don't think it's a trap. I think
It's
it's
an
just the
elevator.
elevator.
Yeah, it's an elevator, and it appears to just be weight triggered. So he was trying to get everybody on there to let everybody go up all at the same time.
Oh, I thought we were like
So nice.
weird. I thought we were already in the hallway that was walking
trying to
around.
tell,
And we were trying to go to the stairs.
No,
Yeah,
they
sorry,
were
you're
looking
not
to see
with
of a
me
way
again,
to trigger
it's
the
all
elevator, and
Oh,
everyone was like, what the fuck is going on? And
Somebody
then
weigh
enough
on if
people
this is
got in.
cocked or not.
You see?
My
Wait, but
D4 keeps
luckily,
falling.
the,
No, it's not cocked.
luckily we
It
split
fell off a
the,
It
bit.
looks
the,
little.
the rock.
So,
But
con save.
6.
6.
5.
5.
I'm
Less.
not a con
Ten.
man.
10.
I mean, I
Allura.
am, but
15.
15. Okay.
Delise and the doctor just like lose their lunches.
So, having stepped into the center of the hallway, you hear a sudden heavy thud as a pair of iron portcullis gates slam into the ground at both ends of the hallway, all of you seeing this, trapping the 4 of you inside a small chamber within the hallway. The scraping of stone on stone and metal chains and gears take over as you realize the entire hallway is rapidly accelerating upwards. As it begins to accelerate, Elith, the doctor, and Les, you start to feel your vision kind of blur a little bit, and you kind of steady yourselves against the side and then collapse to the ground. And Allura, you feel the same thing, but you manage to just barely resist the effect. You are now looking at 3 of your allies unconscious on the ground
Wait.
as an elevator is flying upwards at rapid speed.
Does Hero's Feast give us something for
Nope.
con saves?
Wisdom
No.
saves.
Damn it.
is this? It's not a magical effect.
Sorry?
Is it a magical effect?
It is a magical effect.
Oh, it's asleep.
It is a magical sleep effect.
Oh,
Yes.
then that doesn't affect.
Oh,
me.
I'm not susceptible to sleep magic either.
Okay, good to know. So, you two begin to feel yourselves falling under, and then just kind of go, wait, no, I'm fine. And you just slap yourselves a little, and then Les just crumples to the floor. And you all just kind of go, what the hell? And you can see there's like little bits of like blue and white in the air as if like something seems to be affecting you. But you just feel this accelerating rapidly upwards.
I go to
As it does, I need all of you to roll initiative. please.
Yeah.
Yeah. As we
Ba-
do.
ba- ba-
left.
ba-
Do.
I'm back.
Oh. That's
I
the
took it
difference.
off.
Oh, yeah.
But
Sorry, just everybody in the hallway. In the hallway accelerating up. You guys in the
so yeah,
bottom.
no, that's the thing. We just kind of cheersed
Yeah.
ourselves
You 2 are downstairs
We are snot. We are
braiding your war
stand.
braids.
with the NPCs.
Yeah.
Doing
Oh,
stuff,
right.
spraying
You're gonna have some nice
Shit, okay.
food. You're gonna go have some dinner.
Yeah, so we're with
So,
Victor.
Initiative counts 25 to 20.
20.
21.
21.
Wow.
You can just tell me at this point because it's just the 2.
11.
12 and 11. Okay. Les, unconscious. You just snoring away on the ground. Elif, you act on yours. The hallway is rocketing upwards at a pretty fast speed. You just see rapid shifts of stone on either side of the portcullis. Immediately on the other side, it looks like this is cut to fit whatever this elevator is.
I can't see any mechanism that's.
You have no idea. You literally are surrounded by stone on 4 sides, up and below, left and right, and then the portcullis gates on either side of you. You got 6 seconds.
But it's like it's moving though.
It's moving up.
Okay, I just say down, go down, and then I like shit less, and I kick him a little bit.
Okay. Les, go and make another Constitution saving throw for me.
Oh, fuck off. 7.
7. You just kick him a little bit, like, okay, he's asleep, and you kick him a little, and he just and he like slams his hand against your arm a little as he's still unconscious.
Okay.
That's
I
your
don't
action?
see that there's anything that I can do.
Okay, that's your action. Doctor.
Uh,
Oh, sorry, Laura. With your investigation check being as high as it was, now all of you in the center of the room, you kind of see that with it moving a little bit, there's a little bit of a dust circle that seems to be forming a very small hole above you, about 10 feet off the ground. You would imagine that might be some kind of a hatch or something to be able to crawl out of.
Crawl out of?
Yeah. But you'd have to figure out a way to get up to it because it's 10 feet off the ground at the moment.
only someone had a rope.
You have rope and you have a grappling hook.
But the hatch is currently closed. You got to figure out a way to get up to it to open it first.
Okay, can I, like, ask for assistance? Or can I, like...
You can ask for
like,
assistance, and on that character's next turn, they give you advantage on whatever you're trying to do.
I'm gonna ask to, like, be, like...
Boosted?
If less wakes up,
Hoisted, yeah.
you could
Sure.
hoist
You
them
could say
over
that you
it.
can hold your action waiting for the doctor to assist
Yeah.
you by lifting you up.
Come on.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's
Doctor,
wise, but sure.
can you, like, give me I'll do, like, kind of like a double step and then, up with somebody's hands?
Or
Let's cheerleading
if
this.
if we have to pass less because of sleep, I can help you with that.
Keep
I have a
kicking my
pretty good-
dead Triton body.
But you've already...
No, but on the next round.
Okay.
So you're holding your action to try and open whatever the hatch is?
Yes, I'm holding my action to be lifted
And try to open the hatch.
with a running start and a
Sure.
movement.
And try to grab onto whatever that is. You
Yes.
can pull it down. Okay, good to know.
We're so close
Doctor,
to
now it's your turn.
finding Strahd,
Okay, I'm gonna do something a little easier.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cast Fly,
Sure.
and
you
I'm at
feel
5th
yourself?
level.
Okay.
So that's 1, 2, 3.
Okay, so all three of you now feel your feet lifting off of the ground, but this is traveling at such a speed that you actually feel yourselves still hitting the ground.
That's okay, as
Gravity.
long as we can still fly.
You can still fly, but you can't seem to fly faster than this is moving.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Gravity.
So that's your action to do that. I'll say with your movement, because Allura didn't use movement either, she would be able to climb onto your back if you wanted to.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. So you,
At least now my fucking -1 strength is okay.
yeah, this is fine because this isn't like you're actively trying to lift somebody up. You
Yeah.
just need to be something for her to stand on.
That's fine. I can do that.
So you easily just climb her up onto the doctor's back, and you grab the hatch, and you kind of find the edges along it, and you pull it down, and you see the wind is just rushing down through that now into the area, and it is moving very fast. You imagine you're probably moving at probably 50 feet around, give or take. It's almost 10 feet every
Go to the
second.
top floor.
As you do, you pull that down. You do see as well that there does appear to be an end to this. Oh, actually, no, because your vision isn't far enough.
I would
Never
say-
mind.
What about for goggles?
Even it's 60-foot range. If you aren't able to see how far it is, you just see darkness above you. But at that point, with you kind of having opened the hatch, everybody looking out the sides and just kind of figuring out what the heck is going on, the stone on both sides seems to never end as you continue to fly vertically, but you briefly catch a glimpse of a break in the stone on one side. I need all of you to roll perception checks for me.
Not
So
me.
Charlie in the Great Glass Elevator situation, we're just going to keep going
I'm
up and every
asleep
castle.
on the ground.
We're just kind of out of
Oh,
this.
okay.
So,
I was
Well, you can still be a part of the table.
I was
it's kind of
just
fun though
literally
being outside of
moisturizing.
it.
So,
I'm sorry. I have
26?
dry skin.
24.
24?
What?
Perception?
Oh, mine. Oh, I'm so sorry. Perception. That would be a 19.
19. Okay, all three of you. You kind of instinctively look around a little
Sorry,
bit.
investigation or perception?
Perception.
10.
10. Never mind. So Allura, very focused on getting that hatch open. You don't see what's happening on the outside, but both of you notice a pair of large iron gears turning when you see the break in the stone, with chains running along each and a long metal handle in an upwards position. But there isn't enough time to react to that before the view is replaced with stone once again as the ascent continues. You do seem to have reached a maximum velocity traveling upwards, however. You're not continuing to accelerate.
Is there any way to get like for say a small creature, you might say, to get down into those gears?
It is almost that much of a gap. It is almost cut to fit for the hallway. There's basically no way to be able to get through it. Yeah. Top of the round, Les, I need you to make another con save for me. Oh, actually, no, sorry. At this point, you don't need to make a con save because you're under the effect. There's no additional saves.
What? I don't wake up?
Not yet. Elith, you're up.
Fuck this place.
Okay, so the only thing you can see
I'm
is
just glad
through the
something's
bars,
happening.
like the stone hurtling by.
Yep.
It was fun talking to Cole.
Is there
Cyrus.
anything else inside this like small box that would indicate any kind of controls or
The only
direction?
controls that you saw were the ones that you briefly glimpsed on the outside. You would imagine that whatever that metal rod in the up position is would probably be able to also go down.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, I missed that as a player.
So, and that's on the outside.
That's on the outside. About you feel like you've been traveling for probably about 100 feet, 110 feet or so, and then all of a sudden there's a break in the stonework that's maybe 15 feet high, and you just catch a glimpse as you just look through, and you instantly see turning gears, chains whirling down, and then a lever in an up position, but no one's standing there. It's just set in the up position.
Additionally, you guys are still flying.
Correct.
Yeah.
So
You're
it is
just
your turn.
not-
You got your action, your bonus, and your movement. There is a hatch that's open above now, and you can kind of look up a little bit with your vision.
Yeah, I'm looking up through the hatch.
Looking up through the hatch, the ascent you can see eventually is going to reach what looks like the top of something. You're not sure, but it looks like it's eventually going to hit stone on stone. You're not entirely sure roughly how far that is. Ballpark 120 feet, maybe 80 feet.
That's us.
Somebody fell.
Is there any other openings that I can see coming up?
It's just the hatch that's open already.
Okay.
Is this
Like, but I mean, if we're in a box that's hurtling upwards, are we just going to continue seeing just stone around us, or is there going to be something that
Just
opens?
stone. It looks like it's just a stone chute at this point.
Then where are we supposed to go when we get all the way to
Yeah,
the
how
top?
are we?
You're supposed to.
We should have just gone with Cyrus.
I mean, that's what we're doing right now. You know what?
You're
There's
hanging
no
out.
way
feeling better.
to, like, even if we get out of this hatch, there's no way
To
to
get back down.
get
change the
around
mechanism.
to pop it down.
Well,
So
at this point, it's like 60 feet behind us. Farther.
below us.
The break with the mechanism.
At this point, it's probably about 20 feet below you. I will say the one thing that you do see above you is that you do see an iron chain. That's what's hauling you vertically.
Does that also descend below us?
You have no idea.
Right, but there's no.
Because there's no down. You've got the hatch open on the top, so you can
Okay.
look up and through that, but there's nothing you can see down underneath.
Well, I'm not about to jump on top of a moving box that's moving towards the ceiling.
Yeah, I got a thing.
Right.
Punch me. Somebody
Okay, so I'm gonna shake less.
punch me.
Oh, is it? Oh, are we out of initiative order?
Well, we'll say that was
Yeah.
initiative count 10 when you had the chance to see that. The rest of it kind of doesn't really matter quite as much. Because
Okay.
you're all above when the elevator acts.
May
so
I?
it's in any order you choose.
Can I? Because I saw that.
Yeah.
Can I bring up my mage hand where it was and clack it?
You need to be able to see where the mage hand is going.
No.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a... Because you have no clue where it is in relation to where you are, and the mage hand does have a range on it.
Is say range 30 feet.
Yeah.
And appear at a point you choose within range.
Okay. Make an intelligence check.
Okay.
See if you can figure out where you would want to have that spawn.
Okay.
I'm assuming you're trying to grab the handle.
That's correct.
Okay.
Oof, rough. Sorry, guys. That's 9.
9. You kind of just... And then just kind of instinctively grab and just pull down. And then all of a sudden in the air, you two just see him just going like this. Trying to control whatever this
Can we
is.
Reagan.
break over there to try and get it for us? Can I
I could actually try.
poke him out over there?
There isn't a way for you to send him somewhere as far as I'm aware. Like, he can get there, but he can't, like, magically teleport to where that position is.
He can poof, can't he?
No, he poofs back to you. He can't poof in the opposite direction.
But is he small enough to like get down into the? Okay.
That much of a gap. Stone is
I mean,
essentially
I
scraping
could
against
do
stone.
that.
It's
That
your
can
action
only
to do
carry a
mage
couple
hand, though,
people.
so...
Yeah, no.
So that's going to be that. You two have got your actions still if there's anything you want to do.
Why don't we? I think we just have to wait and see what's at the top. I'm not really seeing a way
Yeah.
that we can stop this
Unless we
train.
want to cut the
Cut the chain and just fall.
chain.
Well, I don't think we want to fall.
Oh, you guys were flying.
Oh,
We
all
cut
of
that
us?
chain and we can just. Well, I mean, you'll be fine.
We're all standing. We're at the bottom. I don't know how far up
Or
there.
is there anything we can be doing at the bottom, or is
Um,
this still for you?
This is still for them
That's
to figure
fine,
out,
that's
because
fine,
it's essentially only 2 rounds that's happening.
Yep.
You guys are going to have an interaction after this.
Okay.
Oh, well, damn it.
Don't worry.
Sounds great.
So-
I was happy to just
so
be
what are you two
chilling
doing
until
as
they get
actions?
back.
Fuck.
Ugh, damn.
I did. I
Yeah.
shook less. That was my action.
Okay, let's go make a con save for me.
The love of God.
I said that already.
15.
15 is the DC.
Thank
So,
God.
Les, you feel a boot in the side of your head, and you just kind of...
No. I shook him.
Oh, you shook him.
I
Sorry.
shook him. I did not say kicked him.
You shook him awake, and you just kind of see Allura over you, and you're just like, how did I get on the floor? And then you kind of look around, and you're like, oh, and you just feel very tired, but you're very rapidly coming back.
Why are we in a box?
Well, buddy. Bad
Les,
news.
you're also right now in complete darkness. You have no blind
Why are we
vision.
in a box?
You actually don't even know
Dark.
that you're in a box. You just
I'm gonna-
feel yourself moving up.
I'm gonna take out the.
Why wouldn't we? Are
Could we
Okay.
be
Can I
immovable
take
without
guests?
this?
How?
There's grates on either side. We just go and we click it.
At this point, though, Les having your turn already passed,
Oh,
Here we
oh,
go.
for fuck's sake.
the ascent begins to slow.
Oh, okay, we're good.
Before you hear a heavy thud of stone on stone, and you imagine you've reached the top of the chute. Those of you looking up to the top, you kind of look up through that little hatch, and you actually see, as do you, Doctor, that just above where that hatch is, a little bit on the larger side, is a wooden trapdoor. You'd imagine probably the exit.
Oh, Well, let's float on up there, guys.
I can't see anything, but I don't like where this is going.
Les, we can all fly except you.
Well, great! Isn't that fantastic?
It's super fun for us.
Yeah,
So
and
all of you
can
kind
even
of-
see where these folks
No,
are.
I
you
see
can't see
nothing.
anything. Yeah, at this point you see a little. Actually, you would see a little faint bit of light surrounding that, essentially just giving you just enough view to see 3 little, very thin spits of light coming
Hey,
up the ceiling.
Allura, do we want to
Yeah.
pop up there? Maybe check that door for traps, then pop open?
Yeah, I'll check it up. I'll check it for traps.
Okay, so you just kind of float yourself off the ground and start
I'll
to
assist.
swim a little through the
This
air.
feels very weird.
Investigation check at
Are
advantage.
you guys floating?
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Can I grab onto your ankle?
No, we'll drop her up. You'll
So
see
that
soon.
will be
You cannot touch
23.
Please do not
23.
touch me.
Best you can tell, it's not trapped. It's a wooden trap door. It
Please
opens
do
outwards.
not touch me.
You just push
Can
it up.
can I also listen at the trapdoor?
Sure. Make a perception check as well.
Assisted.
Way up there.
Assisted. have-
13.
You have advantage.
13.
Was that an advantage?
Yeah, sure, at advantage because the doctor's helping you.
14.
14.
That's hard.
Listening up against that, no footsteps. A little bit of crackling of fire would explain maybe there's a torch on the other side. That's about it.
Let's pop that bad boy open.
All right.
So sorry, this door is the only other thing that we see at the top here. There's no other way to get out of this stupid fucking
Correct.
box. Okay.
You kind of wait a couple of seconds more, and you're like listening at that, and then you hear a heavy as the portcullis gates begin to ascend again, essentially disappearing into the stonework. So you've got the openings on both sides, but it's just stone, right? It's direct stone on the other side. The only thing that you can imagine doing is getting out.
Can I see if there's any hidden trips to open a secret door on one of the sides of this thing?
Sure, make an investigation check.
I'm sure there's
Assisted?
probably not, but
Yeah.
At advantage. Doctor's assisting.
Yes. Like, I would be checking the floor as well to see if there's any sort of trapdoor on the bottom so that we could...
We'll say in the amount of time and all the checks that you did, no trapdoors on the bottom.
23.
Nothing on the sides you can see either.
Let's go, guys. There's only one way to go, and it's up.
All right.
And we can all fly.
All right.
No, we can't!
Well, except Les, but it's fine.
So you're opening the door? The trapdoor?
Yeah.
I think it's
Okay.
something we can do.
All right, so you kind of lean against the trapdoor. We're going to jump back down to you two at this point.
Okay.
So,
Good
having
Lord.
seen the iron portcullis gates slam closed, all of you kind of like instinctively react and begin to prep things, and it's gone. They have vanished vertically, and you kind of step underneath. You do see that there is a large iron chain that's there, that's kind of flying through the floor and rapidly ascending after them. You kind of like look up underneath that very carefully. As best you can tell, there were no traps, but you do see that there is a full-on cutout in the floor with a series of pressure plates underneath it. You would imagine that whatever this was, when a specific amount of weight was put onto that, is what triggered the elevator to start moving up.
Okay, so I want to turn to all the like Esmeralda, Victor, and Casimir and say, okay, just so you know, that elevator took all the decisive members of our party. So they're stuck with us. This is gonna take a while.
And they just kind of like, and like look at each other and just, okay, and like all in unison, we trust you.
But we strong.
They said that all in unison?
Yeah, but like
We
2
strong.
out of the 3 of the people who can heal are with you guys, so.
So you kind of like
Okay,
listen
yeah, so-
underneath, you kind of like take a beat to figure out what the hell's going on. The staircase is still on the far side. The pressure plates have been depressed and have now kind of
Okay.
raised up again. But you do start to hear boom, 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 and the door opens and then just kind of,
Oh, you what? Wait, why are all of you... Oh. Did only some of you go up?
No, we couldn't all fit.
We didn't realize.
You said you didn't want to go up. This is why I'm supposed to show you where to go.
Sorry, Cyrus.
Cyrus, they didn't mean to go up. If they were up, would they be able to get down? Is there a...
They have to traverse the castle like you did before.
Does that thing not go down? It only goes
It
up.
does, but there's a weird door and a place to get into the room where it goes down, and it's a whole bunch of ways up.
Oh,
Does it
okay.
come back down to take us up again?
Only if the lever is pulled down. Then the elevator comes back down.
Boy, this would have been easy if we had Rick.
Well, am I to show you up to the Greek guest rooms then?
Sounds like,
Now we have to take the long way.
Oh,
Is
this
there
guy,
anything
like him.
I can do to assist?
Yeah, if we can carry anything, that would be. And I'm like kind of
Fully
looking
just
to like
split the party
Esmeralda
in the
and
middle
like
and
Victor, and just like, oh.
Yeah, Captain Raisin Bread.
And they're just kind of like, do you want us to wait down here?
Come with us.
Don't split the party.
Yeah,
Three
no,
ways.
Three ways.
Yeah, come with us. We'll
Menage a
figure it out.
party.
Okay. So, you guys at the top of the chute,
Yeah.
as you begin to make your way up, following Cyrus at a fairly leisurely pace. Pressing against the bottom side of that trapdoor, you kind of lift it up a little bit. Try to get a bit of a gauge on what's going on. No movement. A couple of torches hanging in the walls. Feel pretty comfortable. You can just push the trapdoor fully open.
Actually, Jordy, sorry, quickly to intercept because I have a sending stone.
Okay.
Can I?
Yeah, it's
Can
you
I
two
try
that
and
have it, right?
communicate to?
You can. We can only use it once in a day. But
Is that once both? Like a leaf can use it once to me, or I
Good
can use
question.
it once to?
One time used for both.
once sending is cast through the stones, they can't be used again
Stones
until the
are-
So
next
it's
dawn.
it's one send and one return message, and then they're spent.
And is there a time limit on the return message?
It's the next. I think it's within 1 minute or something like
Oh,
that. We'll
okay.
say. Yeah.
Sorry, I was like,
Um,
can we?
Play the system.
I don't mean
Yeah,
like
is it
you.
really
You
full?
do it though.
If you were
that's
gonna
what-
do it, you would
if
have. You
that's
would do
what
it.
Yeah,
Hope
I mean,
wants.
you
Yeah.
you have information that you feel like might be
Yeah.
informative to them. It's up to you.
Absolutely.
You have 25 words.
Ooh, welcome to my world.
Yeah.
Do I
25
need,
words.
Do I need to do anything
Hey, guys.
else?
Nope,
or
it's just
it's a
literally
telepathic
you
message.
essentially just squeeze the stone and it activates it. So, 25 words. What would you like to say?
We are with Cyrus. We are coming up to meet you. Please don't go too far.
You got 9 words left.
Am I
You
hearing
can
them?
say to them what you would want them to say.
Maybe mention we're going to the guest rooms.
We're going to the guest rooms.
3 words left.
We love you.
I was gonna say, are you pooping?
You poop it.
Respond only with I know.
And also, you are sending that to Elith, I'm assuming?
Yes.
I'm not one. The one with the other sending.
Oh,
so.
perfect. Okay, so in your case, 25 words response.
Okay. Is this happened before or after Allura cracks the trapdoor?
This would be, we'll say, right as she's about to crack the trapdoor. With the amount of time that would have passed in the explanation, it would probably be about the
I'll
same.
just wait a couple seconds for Allura to like her reaction to whatever's out there.
She just kind of seems to give an all clear look.
Okay. Hope to send a message to you guys about they're coming up.
There isn't a chance for you to think. It's like a send and receive kind of thing.
I thought you said it was within 1 minute that I could
Yeah.
respond.
Yeah, but you have to. You can formulate your thoughts, but like anything
Oh.
you say is the response to the
Oh.
message.
All right. All right.
It's got so much harder, Jerry. We were right.
Doesn't seem
I
to
love that
be
this
a
happened.
way down.
Oh, balls. I could have said something about how the lift worked better.
That's okay. We'll try and meet you halfway.
You got a bunch of words left. You're
Yeah,
halfway
I
there.
know.
Love you so.
Not pooping.
There's a mechanism in the shaft
Delightful.
to bring us down.
I bet.
Mwah.
Awesome. Okay.
Mwah.
So, as you two, Esmeralda, Victor, and Casimir all start to follow Cyrus, lantern leading the way above the little bit of fog, you two, or you four, Les, you see a brilliant, dazzling light finally show exactly what you're looking at. Just a whole bunch of stone.
Oh God!
Really bright. But for the rest of you, Allura, you climb up onto a dark landing,
Fly
10
up.
feet wide. Sorry, fly up. 10 feet wide and 20 feet long. And are immediately greeted by a framed portrait of a handsome, well-dressed man with a serene gaze and somewhat pale skin. He's posed with light, filtering through a tall window behind him, smiling while wearing a deep crimson set of full plate mail with an inlaid gold crest that you don't recognize.
Oh.
As for the hall, you see a pair of spiral staircases to your right, one going up and one going down. just past an ornate square rug sitting on the other side of the floor. A single iron-banded door stands closed directly beside you, on your left.
So, should we get Les out of
Pop
here?
out and help everyone up
I think
through
we'll
the.
throw a rope down for Les.
Yeah.
Anything. It's great.
Yeah, we'll throw a rope down.
Rope down is easy enough, unless you just kind of clamber up to the rope and just pull yourself up through the top. So the four of you are standing in, essentially, something that looks exactly like that.
Oh.
And you've got, I'm going to go ahead and lay this one out so you can see what it looks like. So you've got door here, staircase up, staircase down. Door is here. There we go. Staircase down, staircase up, door is here. Rug is on this 10-foot square. And so you kind of pull yourselves up onto that 10-foot square there, and then the portrait is directly in front of you.
Right.
Is the portrait Strahd?
Taking a look at it, no. It's close.
Stupid dad.
Like, features are similar. But
His brother
it's not the right crest, it's not the right angular cut to his face. If it is Strahd, it's maybe Strahd before he was turned. You've never seen what he looked like at that point.
Right, because it's in the sunlight. You said. What does the family crest look like?
Family crest appears to be kind of two. It's a little bit odd. Imagine a crescent moon cut in half. So you've got the wide base, and then it's kind of folded up on the outside. It almost looks like a pair of outward-facing horns, but they kind of greet each other in the middle, and then it's inside a large circle.
It's like when you find
Are there any signs on the walls that maybe say guest rooms or anything like that?
Door. That's about it.
Door.
I like that we just ended up in fucking Luigi's mansion.
It looks like
Oh,
face.
that makes sense. Yeah.
Is it like that?
The things are inverted, but inverted and going out, not coming together.
Okay, Kaylee's was
Is it
correct.
like this?
Yep, exactly
Okay.
like that.
Can we see? Can you flash us?
I mean, I can't because
Oh, true. You actually
you guys
Yeah.
aren't there.
You don't know,
Oh, yeah.
but
Not
you
to be
two
a
are
jerk,
able to
but
see.
like we
No,
probably
I-
got to be careful
Thank
with
you
the,
for being.
yeah.
If you imagine a pair of fangs doing this,
Done.
and then a circle around it.
Did it.
Okay.
Okay.
Real
Well,
good.
We're gonna meet them at guest
So
rooms
you've
now,
got-
I guess.
The door directly in front of you. You've got the two staircases, one up and one down, and the one down is just past a large rug.
Can I examine the portrait for like anything behind it or hidden around it?
Sure, go ahead and make an investigation check for me.
Can assist.
Sure, at advantage.
Can has assist, please.
14.
14.
Yeah.
Looking around the edges of the portrait, you kind of like feel along the edge as best you can and like try to move it a little bit. It appears very well stuck to the wall. And you kind of like instinctively are looking around it a little, and then you kind of like do a little bit of a double take, and you're just like, what the fuck? And then it's got that weird parallax effect of like the eyes slightly following you,
no.
standing in the center of the hallway.
Do the eyes actually follow you?
Let's poke.
Hey, Strahd, you watching us?
Silence in the room.
Okay.
Can I check the portrait? Can I check the portrait for traps?
After saying that, however, you do hear some kind of little bit of a creak from the other side of the door, and then the door opens. And excuse me.
Oh,
As thunder shakes the tower, heavy beams groan under the weight of the ceiling above inside that room. 3 ornate lanterns hang by chains from those beams, each casting a dim glow across the room. The curved far wall is fitted with 3 windows of leaded glass and steel lattice work, while a bookcase sits on the far wall with 2 doors and quite a few spines of books visible. Plush, overstuffed chairs and couches are placed about the room, though the fabric is faded with age, and the patterns they once depicted are nearly gone entirely. To your surprise, standing up directly in front of you, having pulled open the door, is a handsome young man, whose attire, while elegant, is worn and faded to an off-white color. His skin is pale, pulled taut across his face with a pair of elongated elven ears on full display. He has a surprisingly familiar frock of auburn hair, cropped close to the head and shaved in places to depict a series of diamond-like patterns.
Octavio? Or whatever his real name is.
Rodolfo?
Across his shoulders is an intricate tattoo depicting a large hunt, alongside numerous scars on his hands and arms. On his left hand, he wears a platinum ring engraved with tiny roses and thorns, while a fine gold chain with a large gold and ruby pendant hangs around his neck. He cocks his head at you and smiles, revealing a set of fangs. but there is a legitimate recognition on his face. And you find yourselves looking at an eerily similar visage of someone you met on your first evening in Barovia.
Oh my goodness.
Is this?
It's fucking. Oh my god, I have this written down. It's
It's
I'm
John.
not there. Yeah, I know who it is. I'm not gonna say it, but I have the fucking.
Good
name written down.
gracious, you look as though you've seen a ghost.
Is this Giles?
No.
No.
I have to say, I was wondering when you would finally make your appearance here again, and who all would make it back. He takes a moment and looks at each of you. Wasn't there a little fellow with you last time? And,
Who the fuck is this person?
well, you're new. I don't
yeah,
believe that I've met you.
No, who the fuck are you?
Well, pleasure to meet you, Jensen Strahd.
Yes. Oh god.
Classic.
Jensen.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, this guy, right.
Yeah.
Right.
You got so
Jensen.
Jensen, you're looking
He
much better
died.
than you thought you might have.
Well, there's a bit of a story there. Would you like to come in? I assume you're guests of the Master at this point.
Sure.
Yes,
Looks
we-
like it, whether we want to or not.
Please come in. And he kind of gestures for you to enter into the room. He himself kind of makes his way over to one of the couches and sits down and kind of kicks his feet up and slams them down onto the coffee table, spreading his arms out over the couches. So, tell me everything. How have you been since your little escapade getting out? Did I miss anything fun during your escape?
Not a whole lot, man. We've been all over these lands, and now we're back.
I wasn't there, so I don't know. What
Yeah, he's new.
fuck else
Yeah,
on-
This
you,
is
you
Les
I
Paul.
don't recognize. Les Paul, it's a pleasure, and he holds out his hand for you.
Jensen again.
I like Jensen. Jensen's cool.
Right, well, not as accommodating as the last time that I met you, although I suppose the circumstances are a tad different.
You are. You seem like you've done very well for yourself here.
I had done well for myself even before we first met.
Is that so?
Oh, come now.
You said it's quite a story. We're here to hear it.
Apparently.
Really? You can't figure it out?
I'm not saying I can't
It was
figure
all a
it
bit
out.
of fun. It had been a while since his last real challenge, and I'd been feeling a tad neglected. So when he asked me to become a prisoner,
Oh,
I couldn't help
you're
myself.
Extra.
things get awful boring here, you know.
Of course.
So how long have you been working for him? Truly then.
I do not work for him. I'm an object of desire of his,
Oh.
from time to time.
How long have you been one of his companions then? If you prefer
Stan
to
Strahd.
say it that way.
Strokes of my king.
Perhaps just under a century or so. It has been quite some time. Seems like he just hasn't had as much time for me in the last decade or so. Something else on his mind, perhaps.
Why is that? Certainly a person of your visage would be of great interest to a man.
And you notice he's kind of like playing with the ring a little bit. And he's just... I don't know. He just seems a bit preoccupied with something else.
Can I check the room for anything odd, anything weird?
Make a perception check.
You're mashing A through the dial.
Yeah.
Where is this?
Skip the
I don't care about
skip the monologue.
My life.
Classic
No,
class.
thank you. It's a fucking 6. I hate that.
Yeah, make a perception check.
Jensen.
Jensen. Oh, Shorty, I
No, I did. It was the 6.
It was a 6.
Yeah.
You notice that there's another door at the far end of the room on the left-hand side. It's kind of, you can imagine like a protractor. Essentially, that's the room that you're in right now. So you've got the door that you entered here, and then the other door that exits out this side. Other than that, it's just a series of couches, fine pieces of furniture, the bookshelf with all the books standing on it.
Again? Cyrus?
Cyrus.
Cyrus.
I have a thought, guys. Back me. This is gonna sound weird. No, I mean at some point, sure. He's very handsome. Jensen, this all makes sense because when we left, we encountered someone that seemed to have taken Strahd's fancy.
You see his gaze narrow in a very angry
Into
stare, and he just kind of, did you now?
Yes, it was in the very first town that we went into. Strahd, we holed up in a house just because we were very cold, and Strahd, well, he came knocking for this very lovely young woman who was around.
Make a persuasion check.
I'm surprised you never met her. Apparently she'd come to the castle a few times.
He seemed very taken with her.
Okay, well that's still not bad.
Do you think that he hid her from you?
Sorry, one sec.
Yeah,
Hold
go
on,
ahead.
I'm still counting. Relatable. 17.
17. He just kind of like narrows the gaze at you, and you see like almost like cat-like eye slits just going as narrow as possible, looking right at you. There was a young girl who came around every once in a while. Told me she was passing fancy.
What did she look like?
Blonde hair, somewhat short, a little young for my tastes.
How much do we want to...
I still have that doll.
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
I want to produce the doll and be like, did she look like this? Was this?
And he kind of takes the doll
Yeah,
from you
absolutely.
and just... I mean, tack on another 6 or 7 years, there's a chance.
You.
Why do you have this?
Well, we found it in another city. It was being commissioned by a local toy maker.
You can see that he's becoming very suddenly aware of the fact that there's a lot of things that he doesn't know that you're explaining for the first time.
Jensen, I'm so sorry to be the one to break this to you, but it seems like she might be more than a passing fancy.
You can see the jaws kind of clench and the fangs bite into the bottom lip, and a little trickle of blood runs out of the side of his mouth, and he just wipes it away. And just...
Did Strahd not tell you about this?
No, my love did not tell me about this.
I mean, I believe he used the word destiny, didn't he?
He did. He said that she was the reincarnated soul of his wife. What was her name again?
Tatiana.
Tatiana, that's right.
He used a lot of big words.
I think he said that she was the only one who could truly be a
Stop
companion.
using that name.
Oh, we're so sorry, Jensen. We didn't mean to ignite anything.
Is this a sore spot?
This is Kaylee breaking, not Leith breaking.
Well, I had intended on listening to all of the adventures that you'd been having outside of this castle, but I am in quite a mood at the moment, so I believe I don't particularly want to do that anymore.
Oh, by the way, would you happen to know where the guest quarters are? Just curious. Got a little turned around.
He just kind of like rapidly points a hand, and you can see like the claws extend out of the end of his hand as he does. The door at the other side of the room.
So it's over there?
And he just lowers the hand and just kind of glares at you. I had no interactions with you. I am more than content to remove you from this castle.
Leslie, settle down. Settle down, Leslie.
Just asking a question.
No, I understand. That's fine.
We
You got
apologize
that.
if we've,
Sorry.
done anything to offend your kind hospitality.
Absolutely. I was just shocked.
And you can see that he's just started to sulk on the couch, and you can see that his nails are kind of digging into the couch and like tearing through the fabric bit by bit and like pulling out little bits of the plush interior.
Would you rather we take our leave?
No, guests of the castle stay in the guest rooms. I need a moment. And you can see that he goes up to the stained glass windows on the side there, and just kind of like looks out over the glooming gray sky for a couple of seconds.
If you'd like to know anything else, we'll just be in the guest quarters. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
No, that's enough. And you can see him put a fair bit of weight on his back leg, and then spring and smash through the windows and just jump out into the darkness and kind of land with a cat-like agility about 40 feet below, and just start to make his way across the rooftops.
Can I
Yay.
watch to see what direction he's going?
Dracula.
Sure.
Shit.
Yeah, he just lands down on top of one of the lower rooftops and then cuts left, and then essentially vanishes from sight around one of the sides of the corner of the keep.
I like it.
It's 40 feet down to the roofs.
40 feet down
And
to
you
the
just
roof.
broke a window?
Yep.
Alright, 20 feet of rope. You want 20 feet of rope?
I mean, we've seen
What, you want to follow him?
Well, I'm just saying it's a way out.
But the others are meeting us in the guest
You're
rooms.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where we gotta go
Or at
meet our
least on the
friends.
way down from the guest rooms. Is there anything else in this room that...
There's books. What are the books about?
Yeah.
Series of books, yeah.
I don't think so at this point.
I think it's for an hour. If I'm not
I
mistaken.
believe it's 10 minutes.
Oh, is it 10 minutes?
Did you cast fly on us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, that's
Why
how
did
you
keep
got
saying
up through the
fly,
10-foot
fly
thing.
up?
Yeah, you've been flying this
Is it?
entire
It's 10
Right.
minutes.
It's 10 minutes.
It's actually
So yeah, so it would be
right,
done at
well,
this
so you
point.
guys have been hovering like 10 feet off the ground.
Definitely.
So,
Except for less.
kind of looking through a couple of the tomes. A lot of them don't have spines, and you kind of flip open and read through a little bit. A couple of the names leap out to you: embalming, the lost art. Life among the undead, learning to cope as a corpse.
God damn.
Castle building 101,
I really hope it's
and
I love that Minecraft
goats of the Balanock Mountains.
Nice.
Guide to BBEEG for dummies.
Can I? I'm gonna grab that goat book.
Okay, kind
Actually,
of
yeah.
flipping
I wanna-
through it, you see
I
a
want to see
couple
if
of.
the goat that we killed,
that's who
that
I
we
wanna
last
see,
killed
yeah.
is in there.
So you do see that there are quite a few depictions
How
of
did
like
they
a
right?
demon, like gigantic goat entity. Like think this is gonna be a really specific reference.
Go for it.
The Book of Dragons from How to Train Your Dragon of
Okay.
like all of the different types of
Yeah.
dragons. It's essentially
Yep,
that
yep.
with a series of like of feral-looking goats, and one of them does appear to resemble the one that Les killed, and that you killed.
No, Les killed it, but I have it.
You wore
I
the
have it as a mantle because it fucked
the
me
mantle.
up, and I was like,
yeah.
nah.
Anybody want this picture of this cool goat?
Is it a blue cacao?
Actually, can I see that for a second?
The label on the goat is labeled as Bloodhorn.
And I take the book and I look at the goat and I like draw a couple little arrows going into it and then like a few daggers stabbing it and like some blood coming out and like little X's over its eyes and a little like tongue.
It's very respectful.
Okay.
You also notice
There's
it's
multiple
online
goats,
from a
right?
library.
Yeah, there's multiple goats.
Okay, I'll also take a pen and draw like a little picture of a leaf so that it looks like the goat skin is her coat.
Oh yeah.
Is her coat? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I can't write in a guest book, but just.
You know what? Fair point.
For what it's worth, yeah, it's
Jesus!
We just outed Strahd cheating to his fucking lover. I think the damage is done.
that's true. We're already home.
Boy, I hope that works
If
in the
he
way I
was
was hoping
mad
it was.
before.
This
That
is
was
not
That was
the
good.
kind of tonight I was expecting coming in.
What,
I
you
was
weren't
like,
expecting the tea?
Wait, you're telling me the home wreckers pulling up? Like that was not what you were expecting.
Also,
Delightful.
just super, super happy Strahd is now a Vicon.
Yeah.
He always was. You just never knew about it before.
I suspected it.
Yeah,
I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
We
That'd be
just
like an
forgot
achievement
about his
unlocked.
experience.
My achievement unlocked. Destroy Strahd marriage.
Oh yes, you're right.
Different people
You're
on
right.
his
You're right.
side.
I remember
yeah,
now.
perfect.
There's so
Yeah.
much information.
I know, it's fine.
Oh my god.
Okay.
One.
So are
Can
we
we,
just
okay,
so-
guys, just real quick.
Yeah.
Party name recommendation: the Home Wreckers.
It's not bad.
We do wreck homes.
Or
Wreckers?
Daddy's Little
Or
Cheesecake.
sell them.
The Castle Wreckers?
I like Home Wreckers.
Okay. But I mean, this is not a home.
It's
Yeah.
a home.
Not
People
anymore.
live here.
That's where he lives.
Alright, anyway, anything else in this room?
It's on there.
Nothing else in the room as best you can see. It's just the books, the bookcases, some fairly nice furniture, if a little bit mobbled at this point, and then the door on the far side. But we're gonna jump from you guys. We're gonna.
Is this okay? Does
Oh.
it seem like it's where
Jensen.
Oh my god, Jensen. Does it seem like this is where he like resides for the most part, or it's more like an entrance to the guest quarters and he's just greeting us?
He seemed pretty comfortable being here, and he was by himself.
Okay. I say go for it, Allura.
Okay. We'll say for sake of brevity, she uses it. Nothing things.
You did the thing. And
Nothing. You use one of the charges of the Wand of Secrets, expel it, and kind of see a faint blue and gold glimmer go from the edge of it, and then just kind of pulse out a little bit, and then pulse back in, and then vanish inside the tip of the wand. Nothing seems to hang.
Carrot head group.
Alright, let's go check out these guest quarters.
Yes.
Okay. So as you head to that, we're going to go ahead and jump over to the rest of you.
Oh,
So-
God.
Do we look out a window and just what the fuck? Some dude jumping on the
Who's
roof.
that broody hottie jumping all over the place?
Yeah, we're both like, can we wipe off our
Ooh,
grill?
you can suck
Oh.
my blood.
You text
Mamma mia.
Yeah.
text one for
Nice,
Team
you
Strahd,
You don't
text
have
two
to
for
suck
Team
just my
Jensen.
blood.
Yeah, that's right.
Really, really good comedic timing.
Thank you.
Like twice today.
It's all the years of performing at tables when I was a server. Like, oh my god, you're so funny.
You gotta have one-liners. That's all you got.
Oh my
It's
god,
gotta
you
be.
gotta have a bit.
Okay. So
Like-
for the rest of you along the bottom,
Oh,
now we get to go into the other stuff. Had you gone the other direction? So
Oh,
Content,
that's
guys.
true, actually.
yeah, more content. So, making your way down the hallway to the set of iron-banded double doors, Cyrus pushes open the doors, leading the way. The fog rolls from the hallway in to cover dark stains on the floor of this 50 by 30 foot area. Large oak tables, scarred and beaten, lay scattered like toys about the room, their wood crushed and splintered. Replacing them are furnishings made entirely of human bones. The walls and the 20-foot-high vaulted ceilings are a sickly yellow color, not because of faded or time-worn plaster, but because they are adorned with bones and skulls, arranged in a morbidly decorative fashion.
Like catacombs in Paris?
Exactly. 4 enormous mounds of bones occupy the 4 corners of the room, and garlands of skulls on twine extend from these mounds to a chandelier in the center of the ceiling, also made of bones. Below the chandelier, a 15-foot-long table made of assorted bones stands in the center of the room, flanked by 10 bone chairs, each festooned with decorative skulls like wingback chairs. Resting atop the table is a small, ornate, bowl-shaped vessel made of a hollowed-out inverted giant's skull.
Oh, one of these!
Yeah.
Hey, we can get another one.
The doors to your left and right are both sheathed in bone, while directly above the double doors, mounted is a massive, long, dry skull of a dragon, directly above you.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Oh, we're not there. What do I know?
Sorry, yeah.
Yep, none of you are there.
Well,
I can't control my
So
reactions.
you instinctively just kind of go, whoa, bones. And then just kind of look up and you see this gigantic, wide-open, teeth still there, dry, bone-dry
so
skull
like
of a dragon.
knowing, like basically being primed, knowing that, goddamn it, Argonlost's
Yep.
bones are in Ravenloft.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Can I like put do I need to roll for?
Can we put 2 and 2 together?
I'd say between the two of you, you kind of exchange a knowing glance, look up at the bones, the skull, look down at each other, and just go,
How big is that skull?
Hope we're in the bone zone.
the skull is about 17 feet long, about 10, 12 feet wide. You would imagine it would probably weigh in excess of 200 to 300 pounds.
So would it fit in the top of Strahd's
Wagon.
carriage?
It would, if it, and it's the carriage would probably be strong enough to be able to support the
Just
weight.
so
That
I
would be an
know.
upgrade.
Just a thought, y'all.
Yeah.
Just planning ahead. That's how I like
That's
to
something
do.
that could probably be done.
Hey
Yeah.
Cyrus, sorry, I thought we were going to the guest bedroom.
We are. We just have to pass through a couple of other chambers. It's a little bit difficult to get there. Just follow me, please.
Are all of them this nicely decorated?
Oh, thank you. You appreciate my work.
Oh, this is you?
Yes, well, myself and my...
And he grabs the
trusty stool.
That guy got a skull up on the top. Sorry about there. It's just funny.
Cool.
I like this guy.
Well,
Let's turn it.
no, it's
Is your stool let you go much further up? How does your stool...
No, I have a bigger stool for that one.
oh nice.
Oh.
This doesn't...
and you can see him like wrench on the wood a little bit to try and extend it.
doesn't do anything.
Fair
But
enough.
Thanks, Cyrus.
you're welcome. Follow me.
And he's just holding the lantern up above his head.
I love it.
So,
Love this guy.
he leads you through the right set of doors. The left
Right.
left ones remain closed. Passing through the right doors, the doors open into a 30-foot square room in utter shambles. Scattered furniture has been tossed into heaps near the walls, while broken bones lie scattered and crumpled and crushed. Lie scattered amid crumpled and crushed plate armor. Dented and shattered shields and bent swords jut from the walls as if driven into them by some tremendous force.
Is this also you, Cyrus?
Well, they all died, and then I used what I did to make my art.
Oh.
You're an artist.
Yeah.
How did they die? If you don't mind me asking.
And you can see him like actively thinking about the best way of phrasing this.
The master was displeased
Okay,
with
so
their service.
I'm gonna go ahead and insight check.
Go for it.
I mean, like, okay, cool. So that's 29.
29. The master was displeased
Yeah,
with their
really,
service.
it's pretty.
Yeah.
Is there any underlying like? No, it's pretty on the surface. Cool.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
pretty
Cyrus.
clear.
We'll keep that in mind.
You notice kind of like looking over the plate armor and the shields. They
Oh.
They do have a familiar crest emblazoned on some of them, but not on all of them.
Okay.
You'd imagine there was a good chance some of these were probably guards, maybe
Alright.
others were servants or something. I'll say with that high of an insight roll and also looking around the room, it would also make sense there are just a lot of dead bodies, because if Strahd turned and he didn't really know how to sustain himself, he probably, the first thing he did was turn to
Yes. Okay, so it's not like
Yeah.
Sweet.
So,
Is that crest that I know that I'm not there, but just for curiosity's sake, is the crest that we saw one of the ones on this stuff?
no, it's not. These ones all have the Zarevich crest on them.
Oh, okay, cool.
So in your case, you see that there is an open hallway down the right-hand side, and so that's where he continues to lead you. Excuse me. Pass through a dark passageway running for about 20 feet. You've got alcoves cut evenly, about 10 feet along, eventually connecting to an archway with an ascending stone staircase. The alcoves are cluttered with rotting cots, dirty rags, yellow lichen sprouting from the walls and ceiling. Looks like it hasn't been used in quite some time. Alrighty, so making your way up. Making my way up to.
Every time.
You ascend a staircase for about 40 feet or so, and eventually reach a fairly open area.
It's like day.
Hmm?
I said it's like day.
Yeah, you guys gonna be all fine, we're all sweaty, like, oh.
Well, they're
We
flying.
took the elevator. We're not flying anymore.
Les is all
Love in
dizzy.
an elevator.
So,
Yeah.
reaching the top of the first staircase, you see a mosaic floor adds a touch of color to the otherwise dark, cold, and empty tower that rises into inky blackness above you. A wide spiral staircase ascends upwards, hugging the outer wall, about 60 feet apart. So it is a very wide central tower. You'd imagine this is probably the main spire of the entire keep. Cyrus continues to lead you on a little bit further away from the staircase. Sorry, I'm just gotta find the right place for this. There we go. So he gets you to follow him along the mosaic floor for a little ways.
Can we see what the mosaic is? It just like more? It's like. Is there anything depicted in the mosaic, or is it just mosaic flooring?
It's just mosaic flooring.
Okay.
And you kind of and you see him, and he just kind of realizes.
Wrong way. Sorry.
And then he just turns back down and heads back the other direction. He seems to have realized that he's leading you somewhere that actually he doesn't need to take you.
Oh. What was that way?
I was thinking that they were going to a different part of the castle, but because they're going to the guest rooms, I have to take the alternate route. It's a little bit longer. We gotta go outside. We're gonna have to get a little bit wet. Sorry.
That's okay, we packed accordingly.
All right. Back down we go.
And he leads you back down the staircase back into the basement again. By this point,
Maybe making mental note
Yeah.
of like the route that he's been taking.
yeah, for sure.
So
It's
that
easy
we
enough
kind
to do to trace that back. Everything you pass by, that nothing's really encumbered you in any way. The major feature that you notice is that staircase that's heading up.
spiral, yeah.
And then there is also another little bit of a flanked area off to the side. It just kind of vanishes around a corner. So there is another little turn that you can make there. So I'll explain that to you, because this is the main area for you to get to the bottom of that staircase. Once you get there again, we'll go back to it. So we'll say, for the sake of brevity, it leads you back down through everything, back up the staircase that you came from, into the other room, out the far door, and then eventually you're back outside, and he seems to be leading you back around to the front entrance to the keep.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll jump back to you guys at this point, upstairs in the guest room.
Sorry, while we're outside, do we see Jensen just like fly out the window?
You would actually hear... no, with the amount of time,
Fair enough.
no, it wouldn't have actually transpired, because there was a fair bit of walking that you did to then have to traverse back. So, for you upstairs...
Jensen. Love him.
Jealous Jensen.
Jealous Jensen.
I don't know that it's a jealousy thing. I
So,
think it's maybe on
sorry, you
Strahd.
said you were opening the
Yeah,
door
no
into
kidding.
what he called the guest room?
I believe
I
we
guess
were,
so.
Yeah? Okay. So, pushing open the door, you see a large bed sits in the center of the room. Its four corner posts supporting a black canopy trimmed with gold tassels. Several comfortable divans are placed around the room, and there's a banded door on the west wall and a similar unbanded door on the east wall. The one that you walked through was the unbanded one.
Do we want to ransack this place?
Can I take a look around, see if there's anything of note?
Anything of note? Sure, make an investigation check.
Oh, assist.
Good.
Oops, now we're
Oh,
gonna
okay. Him at advantage is what we did instead of
Okay, that's fine.
Oh, that's what it was. 18.
18. Looking around. It's a pretty comfy looking room. Bed probably pretty soft.
Is there like any chests or anything?
No chests, no wardrobes of any kind, just a couple of chairs and a nice big bed.
This is like a thruple size bed.
Yeah, it's essentially it's a double king.
Oh dang! It's a
You can imagine this is a room that quite a few people have shared with each other at a time.
Yeehaw!
I guess
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Can I look in
Turn
the
a
mattress?
black light on there. It looks like a Jackson.
I feel like
Can I
Strahd
look in the mattress?
Hey.
Sorry?
Like under the mattress?
Yeah, you lift everything up and looking around underneath. Best you can tell, nothing in the room.
This place is clean.
Just the door that's in front of you.
This place is clean.
Let's check the
I would
banded door.
have just made sure that the door that we came through didn't shut.
Yeah, let's keep it open.
Yeah. What, like if there's a chair or something that we can kind of like prop.
Yeah.
Because I just have a sense that if this door shuts, that it might not happen again.
And then the room goes down.
And you lose.
Can I listen at
Barovia.
the banded door?
Sorry?
Can I listen at the banded door?
Sure. Make a perception check for me.
That's not great, but it's something.
Mm-hmm.
10.
10. No sound coming from the other side of the door.
Sorry, Jordy. There's the only doors in the previous hallway were the one that we came in through, and then this one, right? there another
Correct.
door?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was the only doors were the one that you came through into the room with Jensen. Second room off to the side, and then another door just in front of that. And then you've got those two staircases, one up and one down, in the hallway that you exited the elevator from.
Right. So we could try and head down.
Yeah, we could see behind the door.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We were told to wait in the guest rooms for the rest of the party, don't we?
Well, I told them we'd meet them. We could meet them on the way down as well. I'm not sure.
But we don't know if we're in the second.
Yeah, we don't know where
No, we
the
don't.
is.
We may as well try and sort of see what's here first. But I
Yeah.
don't really want to be sitting duck and just wait in this room either.
Well, let's keep moving. Check out the other rooms then.
Yes. Let's. Is
Can I
that
check the door for traps?
Check the door for traps.
Love it.
Sure. Go and make an investigation check for me.
Something pops out of the
Blah, blah, it's me, Strahd.
Natural 20!
Natural 20.
I love these.
Yeah.
Good.
Coast is clear! Coast is clear!
Alright, let's
So
open that
good.
bad boy.
perfect? Go ahead, Les.
Let something explode into 1,000 fish bits.
It was the wall that was trapped this time.
Downside, no more less. Upside, fish fingers.
Whoa. Yeah, there's 11.
Okay. Pushing open the door. Excuse me. Pushing open the door, you see a small wood-paneled room reeking of mildew, and it's a 10-foot-high ceiling. Iron hooks lie on the walls, and a dusty black cloak hangs from one hook to in the center of the south wall. Essentially, just appears to be a closet of some kind.
What are the clothes look like?
A little bit long, kind of like longer black cloaks, big hoods.
I'm
Black
getting a real
cloak?
Frankenfurter
Black
Like a
cloak?
feel
reverse
off of it.
Can I
KKK
see? Is
situation.
it nice? I want to check it out.
It's pretty nice material, surprisingly. Actually, it doesn't
Way
seem to
better
be
than mine.
That
Right?
window.
your blue one.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it goes.
It's pretty similar make. Yours is probably a little bit newer than this is.
And tailored specifically for him.
Hey guys,
Correct.
before we start taking this cloak, do you mind if I just check it to see if there's anything magic-y about it?
Sure. How do you want to do that?
Just Arcana check, see if I can find runes or anything on it.
Make an investigation check.
Okay.
Yeah, because you're looking for stuff on the cloak.
Jesus. That is it's an 11.
11.
Oh.
Cloak doesn't appear to be magical.
Okay.
No.
Just a cloak.
Just a
I mean, I
cloak.
don't think they leave much of value in the guest quarters.
Yeah.
I love that you guys are pounding pavement. We're just awkwardly agreeing to like follow this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, look at my interior decorating.
You
And then,
awkward bellhop.
Really?
Are we gonna try to go through this other door?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, you checked it for traps already?
Not the new door.
Isn't this? Yeah.
No, you're already through the other door. That's the closet.
This is the closet we're in.
Oh, it's the
Yeah,
closet.
it's just a really
Yeah.
big. It's a big closet. It's like a 10-foot by 10-foot closet.
Yeah.
And there's a whole bunch of hooks hanging, but there's only one coat hanging on a hook.
Can I check the cloak to see if it's magical? Because I can do that.
Make a check at disadvantage because
What?
the doctor already checked.
It's true.
Right, you're
Unless you can cast detect magic, there's only so many ways that you can
Nope.
really
Yeah.
tell if it's magical.
investigation.
I thought it was Arcana.
No,
It's
it's
investigation
No.
because you're looking for runes first.
15.
15. It's a pretty decent cloak. You kind of look at it and you're like, it's better than. No, it's not. It's not better than yours.
Fine.
Do you really want to wear a cloak that somebody probably died in?
Yeah,
Or
it's kind of badass.
fucked in.
Maybe both.
Just trying to
concurrently.
look the part while we're here. And
No,
dusty old raisins.
asphyxiation.
You know, I was gonna say
Go
for what
wrong.
it's worth, that's basically
Or
all the
exsanguination.
clothes we're wearing.
Let's head down that stairway. Oh, I don't really want to wait around here.
Was there another door?
Make a perception check.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I would like to
Let's
take a look
look
around for
around.
like secret
Oh,
doors
come on.
or hiding
Perception check for you
places
too.
or
We'll say this is just separate.
investigation or-
Perception.
Oh, that's
You're looking for something.
13.
Looking.
This is
13.
cool.
Okay.
12.
12. Allura, you're kind of pretty good in the dark. You're looking around a little, kind of at eye level. Doctor, you instinctively look up a little bit, and your eye catches the glint of something metal, like a hook hanging from the ceiling, but it's kind of lifted up, and you realize it's actually kind of a latch
Oh.
that's about 10 feet off the ground into the ceiling.
Can I have Rick just...
Yeah, and he just pulls it down, and another trapdoor falls down, and you kind of look up into an open space 10 feet above you.
Oh. I'm going to
Can
go
I-
up there.
I was gonna say we're definitely.
Are we still floating?
We're definitely
No.
the
No.
Okay,
That's
do you want
definitely-
to...
I'm gonna give Allura a boost.
Give
Yeah,
Allura a
there.
boost.
Yeah.
Wait. Before you just...
That's fine. She has a rope.
Oh, that's...
I could, like, we could
Nice
hoist
box.
her up and then, like, keep her there. There's some scary there. I could pull her back down.
I'm also really quick. I can...
Yeah.
I know.
And
just-
nimble. I wanted to do the fun way.
I think
All right.
I was gonna say I was gonna do it because I think that she was gonna do a acrobatics thing.
I was
as
really-
opposed to-
yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So, kind of lifting yourself up, just taking a look, or are you just trying to get up there?
I'm gonna...
Because it's 10 feet off the ground, you can't just jump 10
No,
feet
I was
vertically.
gonna run
I'm-
to Alith, and Alith
Oh,
was
and
gonna
do
do
that.
the...
Okay, gotcha. Yep, that's fine. Go ahead and make, we'll say acrobatics at advantage. Because someone's helping you with it as well.
Oh man, they were both 15s, but that will be a 27.
27. You kind of wait, plant your foot solidly. Alith, you assist with a full-on lift, and you kind of reach up, grab the side of the trapdoor, and shove off of it, and kind of just land very silently inside the room. You immediately see heavy beams supporting the ceiling of this large room, the outer wall of which curves to follow the shape of the tower. Dim light filters into the room through several steel latticework squares and 2 giant leaded glass windows. Several tables stand throughout the room, weighed down by stacks of glass jars and bottles, all of them bearing labels.
Ooh.
What did them labels say?
Yeah, can I go and check the
What
does
wine
the label
bottles?
say?
Throw a rope down for us.
Yep.
Okay, you unfurl a rope.
I don't see anyone like I would have been.
Don't see anybody in the
Okay.
room?
Yeah, I'll pop a rope down, tie it onto one of the beams, and pop a rope down, and then go check the bottle.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna come up and check this out.
Easy enough to do. So with the assistance of everybody downstairs, Les being the last one to climb up, you all start to make your way up. As they're doing that, you look around and you see labeled on the bottles as you kind of like swirl it a little bit, you just see an eyeball just kind of turn to face you and just kind of like continue to rotate like you've just disturbed an eyeball that's floating in some kind of liquid.
Speaking of the joys of embalming.
Yeah.
Check in the book.
A couple of the labels are for very, very tiny little pieces of what looks like rotten, awful meat, and it's listed as snail hearts, hair of bat, eye of newt, frog's breath. It's just assorted, kind of very, very cauldron-y kind of a room.
Do any of them look like anti-vampire-y?
They do not, but they look shockingly familiar to some things that you had seen in the windmill.
Hag
This is some
stuff.
hag
There's
shit.
still one. Not to know.
I mean, yeah. What else is in the room, Jordy? It just kind of curves around.
So it's it's curved around, and then it eventually ends at 2 doorways. So if you can imagine again the protractor thing, you've got 2 doorways on the bottom edges of the protractor, and then the table is in the middle where everything is that you're looking at.
Oh, I see. So there's just doors on each.
Yeah, there's doors on either side.
Do we want to clear this out?
Wait.
Listening.
Can I look at the floor
Mhm.
to see if there are any tracks?
You
or
can.
Anything
Oh,
that's
tracks
like
in the
coming
dust.
in and out.
Looking in the room, you see that there are numerous boot prints in the dust and grime on the ground, as well as a short trail of dust on the floor, leading from one of the corners of the room to the door that is closest to the trap door that you climbed out from. And you kind of instinctively look at that, and your inherent military brain comes in. Those are recent, and you instinctively press your ear down to the floor, and you begin to hear slight cackling on the other side of the door.
Oh fuck! There's some fucking hags in there.
Anyone want to kill a hag?
And we should wait for our friends to get here
Yeah,
first.
there's not that many
They're
of
not
us right
coming
now.
up here though.
What's in the corner that the is there anything visible in the corner that the tracks are coming from? Like it's on.
No, it just appears to be a fairly large circular spot that's missing any dust. And then it looks like it's just been dragged across the floor at a weird angle so that a little groove comes through the dust. Like whatever it is was very heavy and had to be dragged. It couldn't be lifted.
Do we want to do a murder? Because I'm into doing a murder.
I mean, if there's only more of them, sure. If there's multiple,
We heard laughter. How much? Yeah, how many?
How many laughs do we hear?
You hear...
or can I help with that with my passive perception?
19.
Yeah, you know what? I'll say with your perception, go ahead and make a perception check for me. As Les is kind of instinctively, shit. And everybody, you just kind of instinctively press your ear up
Nat
against
20.
the
So 29 total
Okay.
for perception.
You pressing your ear up against the door as silently as you can, quieting everybody else. I'll get all of you to make stealth checks as
Yeah, we're
well.
also past that trace. You guys last for an hour.
Yep.
Okay.
So you're still good
Please
for a
be
little bit.
She's totally
good.
ditched this
Oh,
guy.
fucking finally.
Yes.
Something.
So plus 10.
33.
25.
27.
36.
A
6.
million.
Silently, all of you very nimbly, especially you being the one who got hoisted up through that door at first, landing cat-like on your feet. You kind of press your ear up against the door, and you kind of hear... There's probably at least half a dozen cackling laughter on the
And it sounds
glass.
like the hags that we heard.
It's slightly different. High-pitched, somewhat similar, but not quite identical. The hags as well also didn't particularly laugh, per se.
Oh.
They laughed a couple of times, but it was more very soothing voices.
Does the door
Oh,
have
sorry,
like
she was about to say.
handles?
Okay. Is there anything in my background of like being a monster hunter that I would know what kind of like crone-like creatures are prone to sort of being
It
like,
said
cackling?
Monster Hunter, not Witcher. Just in case.
You can toss your coins to me though.
Is the door that's on like that
Sorry,
the hangs on the other side of. Do they have like handles that I could like wedge something in
I do
between?
have white hair.
The door opens inwards towards that room,
I also
so
look good in a
they could just pull the door open.
Give him the
There
touch.
isn't.
Wedged.
Yeah, but you can't really wedge a door that opens in the
I don't-
opposite
We
direction.
should not be fucking with a door that has those creatures on the other side of it.
Well, they just go to Skype. Keep them in there.
Is this gonna like? Because this is the only way through that we've found.
No,
The
there's
guest-
stairways down. And
Oh yeah, there's stairs.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think we should. I mean, there's only 4 of us.
There's a
John
chance.
Does
just
the-
cracked open the door
Does
and
the
shoot a
does
fireball.
the
There's also a chance it's one pig watching.
Trapdoor.
trapdoor, does it open down or up?
Trapdoor opens downwards.
Okay. Let's just go. And let's go back.
So you silently untie the rope that you had tied off, drop down 10 feet to the floor, no issues at all. You're prepared for the impact.
Both doors? Did we listen at both doors?
You just listen to the one. You
Oh, I'd like to
Can
listen
we
at the
have
other door.
listened at the other door?
Sure,
as
listening at the other
well?
door.
Quickly.
Quickly,
Yeah.
yeah, quickly and silently.
I will maybe just stay guard at the other door to make sure that if it sounds like they're coming closer, about to open the door, that we're.
Hey,
By all
Lex,
means.
you got one of them wooden spikes you love so much?
I do.
Do you want to maybe wedge one under the door?
I don't think we should use our wooden spikes for that.
Oh, no, I mean, or an iron stake or an
Okay,
iron spike
yeah.
or whatever, just to block the door.
Oh, I have iron spikes.
I think that's gonna
Blocking
be loud.
the trapdoor.
No, blocking the door with
No,
the
I don't think
I
we
think
The,
should.
the
should-
door with whatever those are opens towards them.
Yeah, so it doesn't.
It can't really be blocked from your
Do
side.
you put a bucket of
Oh, that.
Just full on carry them.
I've seen
Oh,
Wizard of
Alright,
Oz.
so
check out the other door.
laughing
Perception
today.
check.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh shit!
You said you were
I didn't
checking
think
it.
about that. It's just-
Yes, thank you. It's 18.
18. You kind of like listen to the door a little bit, get really low to the ground. Nothing really coming from the other side, and then you just kind of hear a coming from the other side.
Oh,
There's a kitty. There's a kitty in here.
Kaylee's really sentimental with cats, but Elise is not.
Can I take the door for traps?
Sure. Investigation check.
Oh, he's just.
14.
14. Door opens outwards. No traps.
Alright.
Best you can tell.
I want to go into it.
No good?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. You kind of reach down, grab the handle to the door, and all of you are kind of prepared to go downstairs. And you turn around at the last second and see Les opening this door. Les opening the door. The low ceiling of this 20-foot square room presses down on you. Torn and broken couches lie in heaps, haphazardly strewn about, while deep claw marks cover the hardwood furniture, and once lush upholstery has been sliced to shreds. From the dark shadows amid the rubble, 3 pairs of green eyes stare back at you.
Close the door, close the door, close the door, close the door.
The door closes instinctively, and all of you kind of realize what's happening. You turn around, and you hear the cackling. And the door just gets snatched open, and a couple of grisly, gnarled faces come out. Long, kind of folded, pointed black whole hats. They immediately begin to filter out into the room, and you see that there are 4 of them. I need all of you 4 to roll initiative.
Yeah.
So I just have to show you guys this. We gotta. Damn it, Les. I love you, but damn it. Yes, all of us.
All of us.
Every
Welcome
single
to the
fucking
Dicecream
time.
Sandwich Twitch stream.
You know what? I like this. I like that something's happening. Big
I
fan.
want open Leaf to be here though.
But hey, good news, guys. Now we can just murder these guys and get the floor.
Unless they murder us.
Well,
it's
you
only
know.
4 of us.
What's funny
If
because
ifs and buts or
y'all
candy and nuts.
should have kicked the cats because you know they like turning things into cats.
Yeah, they could have been.
Those are people.
They might have been friends.
Those.
Nah, we're just gonna leave. That's the thing. We're gonna leave this castle and just leave them there.
Just make this a little bit of an easy map. We've got doors.
So while this is happening, Cyrus is like giving us an intimate tour. Of,
Oh,
like,
he's
all the-
straight up just giving you all the lore on the
lighting
castle.
stuff,
You guys are getting like the
everything.
open
That's
garden,
great.
like full on.
See,
like,
you guys
have, like,
I'm
headphones.
gonna, like, hold you to that, Jordy, for when we do.
We're
hear,
like-
Oh yeah, don't worry, I got
the-
this.
We catch
It's
up.
not all of the lore,
Yeah.
but it's enough of it.
We catch up and we've got like the little pamphlets and like we've got each of the things stamped from all the different.
Oh my god, yeah,
Slide
we've
it
been
off.
at all of the places. We've got the stamps we're going to be sending off for our certificates.
Yeah, exactly. I got
Alrighty.
one. I had pushed a penny through one of the things. I went to castle and read
I'm
it.
gonna tell you right now, big fan.
I went to
All
All right,
Castle Rainbow
so
and all I got was
Les,
this line.
you are at this door, having opened it and immediately closed it. Allura, you are here with the trapdoor directly in front of you. Elith, you're directly beside.
I am, but I also said that
You
once
were-
I heard them, we were gonna book it, and so once I heard them coming towards the door, I would have started to do that.
Just slam the door. It's less
Okay.
time.
I'll say that's fine. That's with your initiative, you would be fine to be able to jump down. So you are
Oh.
removed from the room if you
Okay.
want to be,
Or
or you hear the movement and then pause for a second before you jump.
I would have run right towards the exit of, like, towards the
Yeah,
trap
so
door, but I
this-
wouldn't have jumped down yet. I wouldn't have abandoned everyone
Okay,
else
so
in there.
this 5-foot square right here is the trapdoor.
Okay.
So you're essentially, we'll say that you two are directly beside it, and
Okay.
Doctor, you're maybe right next to the table that's there.
Oh, yeah, do. We can move.
I would look at a table. Tables are fun.
And we'll go ahead and just say that that is the table.
Yeah.
And then we've got a bunch of these guys. I did not expect this to go this direction, so we're going to use random minis. The door opens. One of them begins to make their way out. So that's one. Oh, actually, this should be a little bit further over here.
Oh, I see.
The true chaos.
Because they're not actually.
Oh, that makes sense for those minis.
And
These are randos.
yeah, these ones are.
Well, they work.
They do work, yeah.
You know what?
Guys, I have a plan.
Yeah, these work.
But we also don't want to.
All right.
We don't want to
So,
yeah.
You know, the
initiatives.
the action
We're
economy
gonna go and jump
dictates this
right
would be
into fights
difficult.
here. Yeah, didn't expect this to happen. Thanks, Les.
Neither did the rest of us.
I love it.
What a
It's
dream.
great. All right. So, initiatives for them. 5. Okay. I need everybody to let me know initiative order is 25 to 20.
17.
17.
Oh,
20,
Also-
25 to 20.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think we have anyone above that. I'm also
Ooh.
17.
Me too.
17, 17.
Whoa.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so all three at 17. So that's Allura, Leith, and Les.
I had 15.
15. Okay, good to know.
Seeing these creatures start coming through the door, Jordy, do they look
Yep.
like anything that we recognize?
They do not. You notice very large warts on the ends of their noses and faces. They look like the classical description of a witch.
They're just a spirit Halloween store.
Everything that witches are not.
We're also going to
You see the
use.
fireworks thing.
I slightly resent this depiction of witches, but I'll still kill them. But like,
Oh yeah, Les, you take care of those guys.
Witches are better than that.
Yeah.
We've also got our 3 cats
Yelpish.
that were inside the other room. So Les, you've closed the door
Just for
to the
some
cats. Okay,
IRL.
so top of the round. Allura, Elif, and Les acting in whatever order you choose.
Will it?
What do you
I'll
want to
let
do?
Les go. You guys want to go first? You're faster.
I can pew pew things.
I mean, I had a big view in mind.
Are we
Okay.
gonna just go through this room down and then go to G?
I mean, we can't block the door because it opens into that. So it's not like we can.
This can block.
Oh.
We could all duck down the trap door,
Yeah,
and they'll be
and
like honed in on one opening. We just blast the crap out of it.
Or
We
Ben already has
we
a
have that exact situation right there. That door.
I mean, that is true.
Because they're
Okay.
cats. They're not
Yep.
opening a door.
Yep.
Like that.
Okay. Okay, let's just do it. Let's wait for them to.
Okay. Well, the doctor's not on the same turn base as
Nope.
us, so
Okay.
I'm still gonna pew pew things.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm gonna.
Or
I'm
you're trying
gonna.
to hold
sneak
the door
attack.
closed.
No, I'll.
Like the door open.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna go beside the door and I'm going to hold an attack for the first thing foe that I see come through the
First thing foe that you see come through the door.
door. Thing foe.
Move this.
Thank you. Thing foe that you come to see through the door. And so the door at this point has been opened, so you just kind of instinctively wait beside that. Go make a stealth check for me. This will be your bonus action to hide.
Yeah, okay. That will be a. Do I still have pass without a trace?
You do? Yep.
Okay, so that is 40.
40.
Whoa.
Okay.
rolled an
Allura
18.
almost vanishing into the wall, all the lights non-existent in this room, but there is a little bit of filtering light coming in from the outside. You find a couple of shadows there, holding your action for an attack with what?
The scythe. That was
Scimitar.
Scimitar, yeah.
Okay, with the scimitar. Good to know. Alrighty, on from you, Elif or Les. Who's up next?
If I hold my action, do I get all 3 strikes of my attack?
No, because one of them is a
Okay,
bonus action.
then I'm just gonna go for it. Pew
Go
pew.
for it. Okay.
The one I can see through
Make
the
it
door.
3 shots. First attack.
Maybe this is just like their witch storage. And
All of them fit in this closet.
Here too.
Aw.
I don't know that this is a
25
closet,
to hit.
25 hits. Damage.
Not like that Frankenfurter cloak we found.
Okay.
Castle gave a
Oh,
knock.
sweet. 12.
12 points. Okay, first one. Second attack.
21.
21 also hits.
Okay.
Damage on that.
Or sorry, 22.
Castle
8.
Ravenloft.
8. Alrighty. So the first one, you sink the 2 arrows in rapid succession. First one in the left shoulder. Second dead center on the chest, and it just kind of... and just crumples
sweet.
over to the side.
I can see one behind her, so I'm
Oh,
gonna.
they're so
So the
easy
first
to kill.
one
The first one's gone.
removed.
Sounds like
Do any of them that I can see through the door, which is about these 3, do any of them look more like powerful than the other?
It's just the worst change.
Not particularly.
So
They'll look pretty similar, but you see them kind of, now that the first one is out of the way, you see that as that one falls, there is a fairly sickly green light coming from the center of a large black iron cauldron in the center of the room that's over a series of fire flames.
Is anything coming out of the cauldron?
As best you can tell, not really. It's tough to get a glance with all the movement on the other
Just
side.
in case there's some kind of like miasma, I'm just gonna sort of like draw my cloak across my face.
Mm-hmm.
I have like a little thing that I can pull up, and I'm gonna fire my last attack at the one right here.
Okay.
Ew.
That's fine.
Nice.
29.
Okay. And this is your bonus damage
It
one?
is indeed.
Go for it.
Yeah. Can I also just side note be like, that's the dice from Adventure Dice that Kaylee is rolling?
This
to
one?
reveal
Yeah,
the
this one.
unicorn snout.
That's pretty
Last
nice.
time it didn't go so great for me, but
Yeah,
most
it
of the
did.
time it does gives me really high rolls. So unicorns, what's up? That's not so great though. It's fine. Anyway, no, you're good. 9.
9 points of damage?
Yeah.
Okay, good to know. And sorry, which one was that?
This one.
One there? Okay. Okay, good to know. Those are your 3 attacks. You've got your movement left for you.
I'm just waiting by the trapdoor to see what happens.
Waiting by the trapdoor. Okay. That's going to be your turn. Last in the first round of initiative.
I think I'm going to just hold this door closed
Okay.
so that the cats can't get out.
Sounds good. You pull the door closed and you feel it latch, and you're like, it's not good enough. And you just pull all your weight on the door and just kind of wrench on it to make sure that it stays
I
closed.
got this.
Okay.
You got this!
Oh boy.
All right. That's gonna be your turn, Doctor. You're up.
Cool. I am going to
Yeah, they had low initiative.
Good.
Rolled a 10 and a 5.
You want us
walk
to just
around so I can.
Yeah. Take a look. Whatever you need to see.
Thank you.
This map is
Pardon
awesome.
me.
Hello.
Hold on.
It's a
Like,
pretty
we're
nice
like
little
just
one.
making it on the fly.
Yeah.
I'm going to post up right here, right
Yep.
of the trapdoor.
Okay. Just gonna get this out of the way.
Hang on.
It's caught an eyeball.
It's me, Strahd.
He's
All right.
hungry.
Cool. So, yum yum yum. Yum yum yum.
All right.
I
so
want to
posting up there just
Yeah.
beside the trapdoor.
Yes, that's my plan.
You've got a pretty clear view of about 5 of them.
Fantastic. I want to drop a fireball in this square right there.
Fireball in that square. Okay.
It's a 20-foot radius, so it should just miss a little.
Yeah, it will if you drop it on the far side.
Yeah.
Plan.
Okay. Go ahead and roll damage on that. So what is it?
Fantastic.
10d6.
It would be 10 6.
Yeah, 10d6 points of fire damage.
Sure.
I'm gonna wait and see how much damage it is before I roll any saving throws.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wait, hold on.
We got this.
Describe the
It's all
floor.
good.
Wait, are you dropping the fireball into that bubbling cauldron?
No,
of
just to the side.
green light.
It'll be fine.
It's going in the room, so
Yeah.
cast the fireball. Let's
is
roll
I
damage.
have
I'm
I
pretty
think
sure
it's
there's.
concerned.
I'm
We are
pretty
all
sure.
outside of the room.
Time to do a
This is
concern.
fine.
Time to do a
Are the
concern.
walls also wood?
No, everything is stone.
Okay.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the only wood is the wood that's burning the fire underneath the large cauldron.
Okay.
Meanwhile, downstairs.
Notice the
We might be back to that real quick.
33.
33.
interesting.
You drop the fireball on the far side of the room and just kind of instantly hear the incineration sounds as 6 witches just get burned in a blaze of fire, the door itself slightly catching and then eventually receding a little bit. The cauldron in the center of the room seems to be relatively unaffected, as though it can withstand pretty great heat. There's already a lot of fire going
is
on
a
underneath it.
cauldron.
It is an iron cauldron
Oh,
after
dude,
all.
the jambalaya burn.
But all the bodies just kind of burn to cinder and ash, just scatter across the ground.
how does it smell?
Fantastic.
Tasty.
Hemp and barbecue.
You get an extra bonus points for playing those, right?
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
have 14 extra hit points now.
Yeah.
14 temporary
Wait.
hit points until you take a short rest.
On top of
Oh, on top
the
of temporary
bonus
hit points?
10
I thought
point-
they
ten-
don't stack.
They're not. They're too.
Are
No,
you
because-
different because of
So the
hero's
spell
feast?
is increasing your permanent hit points
Yeah.
as a temporary action. This is
Oh.
temporary hit points that go above and beyond that.
Sexy.
So,
increases our permanent hit
So,
points
like,
as a
we can
temporary
keep-
action.
so, like,
For,
so
for
like your
24 hours.
total
Right.
actual hit points.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
for a
only-
24
right,
hour
okay, I
period.
get it. So the ones that he has, they don't.
They're
come back
categorized
if you-
different.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Okay.
I wouldn't mind a short rest just to bring the spells back, but I think that room's taken care of.
So you
I
kind of
don't
instinctively
think
look
you
in.
can short rest
You
yet.
do hear less on the other side of the door as the fireball rages, and you instinctively pull back. You just kind of hear a 3 distinct sounds of like cloud splitting, like as if something had just shattered into its form. You've heard this a couple of times before. Every time
You've
Rick
heard
gets
it.
popped,
Yeah.
you just hear a
He's heard it.
from the other
these
side of
are
the door.
familiar.
Yeah.
Oh no. Okay, no.
Can I
Well, they're
open
all
the door
very
just
dead
to see
now.
if it's okay?
Opening the door to look inside, the cat's eyes are gone.
Is there anything in the room?
We'll come back to that
Yes.
after this. So
Okay, so we've all got like
So.
our flags. We've got our punch books.
You went to the
I can
gift
tell.
store.
Yeah.
you went to the
we
gift
have
shop.
our,
You
like-
did everything.
Yeah.
I went to
we
Castle
went to
Raisin
Castle
Bread,
Raven
and all I
Block.
got
Oh,
was
we
a
got
stupid
this
t-shirt.
t-shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We've got
That needs to be a T-shirt.
I made.
In ours?
I was
It
gonna say I
does.
made one of those punch press penny things.
Yeah.
With Strahd going like,
New merch idea just been born.
Agreed.
Me and Elliot are on it.
Okay, so you guys making your way around the outside. Cyrus is pretty chatty at this point, right? Having people around, he clearly doesn't exactly get too many visitors downstairs. So he's chatting about how long the castle has been built for, that it's several centuries old. Originally, the castle made in Queen Ravenovia's honor by her son, the great Strahd von Zarevich, lord of this realm. That it was made for her and her husband and their 2 sons. That's the one bit of tidbit that you just
Yeah,
kind of
two
go,
sons.
what?
Okay.
Two sons.
Sorry. Well, are we outside still, or are we back?
You're outside still.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I be looking for ravens?
Sure. Make a perception check for me.
About the 2 cents.
Okay, so that is a 21.
21?
Yeah, I just know that they're supposed to be kind of guiding us, so I'm kind of looking like
Guidance, please.
is there any I'm just kind of looking for them. Maybe they've I knew half the party went in elevators. I'm looking for anything right now.
You kind of looking around, trying to see anything ravens. You don't particularly see anything. Even directly overhead, you would kind of expect to see something. Given the storm clouds that are up there, given the fact that you are now inside the castle, there's not a whole lot the ravens are really able to do at this point.
Alright.
Yeah.
You said 2 sons. Now, that's... I can't recall hearing about that before.
Oh, Strahd had a brother.
Okay.
He died. A horrible, tragic tale. We don't like to talk about him too much. He's a bit of a sad story.
Well, if this is a long journey to the guest rooms, would you mind sharing this story?
It's
we're
not too
very
long.
Sympathetic.
It's not too long.
And you kind of hear him realizing that he probably shouldn't have said that. And you can just kind of see him just kind of
Sorry.
and then he just kind of reaches over and grabs the side of the castle keep and just starts bashing his head against the side of the castle
sorry.
a couple of times,
Sorry,
and then
still
just
good.
kind of lifts his head back, and there's a bit of blood trickling down the side of his head now, and he just kind of,
Not supposed to talk about the master.
We won't.
Sorry.
follow me, and he just holds the lantern up a
You want
little
me
bit
to look at
lower
that, or-
at this
Cyrus,
point.
we won't tell anyone about this.
That's fine. You don't have to. I will, because I have to. So it's fine. Don't worry. Just follow me, and I'll get a little more quiet than this time. Thanks.
And he just kind of continues to walk around the side. He does eventually lead you to the front gates of the actual keep, the doors that you had once fled out before, and just kind of instinctively pushes onto the gates. So now I get to read this fun one. So
I always imagined it would be Hope Leaf and a bunch of NPCs coming to the front door. This is really how I picture this.
Alrighty. So, the cracked wood outer doors of the castle push inward, revealing a familiar entryway, as torchlight flickers and reveals the large gold crest of Zarevich inlaid into this much more ornate inner door. The gold crest splits in half as the ornate door opens inward, Cyrus leading you ahead, revealing a grand hall filled with endless sounds of organ music. Moving inside the vaulted entry foyer, cobwebs stretch between the columns that support the vaulted ceiling of a great dusty hall, and you see 4 statues of very small dragons glaring down from small perches on the columns, their glass-like eyes flickering in the torchlight as the doors close with a resounding thud behind you. The hall is dimly lit by crackling torches in iron sconces, along with the lantern that Cyrus is carrying, each casting odd shadows across the statue, while cracked and faded ceiling frescoes remain unkept, covered in decay. Double doors of bronze stand closed in front of you. On your left, a wide staircase climbs up into darkness, curving left after a good 20 or 30 feet. To your right, a lit hallway contains another set of bronze doors, through which you hear a sad yet majestic organ tones. He turns to the right, beginning to push his way through those doors.
Strahd's just back there playing some dashboard confessional.
Dashboard confessional. Jesus. Alrighty.
Jensen rocking out some how could this happen to me?
Made my mistake. No. Torchlight flutters against the walls of this vaulted hall as you push the doors open. To the east, an arched hallway stretches for 20 feet, ending in a spiral staircase that goes up or down. Next to the hallway, a suit of armor, oiled and glistening, stands at attention in a shallow alcove. To the west, large double doors hang slightly open, and a steady, bright light escapes through the opening, swells of organ music coming from behind these doors, spilling their melody of power and defeat into the hall. Cyrus leads you past those doors to the staircase directly on their left. begins to make his way up. It's a fairly narrow one, about 10 feet wide, but he just kind of, about 50 feet, 60 feet up. And then again. And then we're there. And so he starts to make his way up.
Did you assist in the decorating of this area?
No, the master likes to keep me downstairs. There's not a lot of reason for me to be up here. I've got my own particular tastes. He likes gold. I like bones.
Fair enough.
Hey, to each their own.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So, follow me.
And he begins to make his way, kind of popping up the staircase a little bit.
Only tolerant evil minion.
Yeah. So we're going to jump back to you guys, because essentially that staircase is going to lead you right up to the top there. All right, so all of you now looking at the burned ash cinders of the witches inside the room. The cauldron's still bubbling, the fire's still lit underneath. Les, you open the door into that room. You asked what you saw there? Sorry, yeah, Liz. What'd you say?
Should I?
What?
Okay, I cast sending. Can I cast sending quietly?
Yeah, it's easy enough
Okay,
to. He's not particularly paying
Isn't
attention.
sending telepathic anyway?
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I just want to double check.
No, but it's somatic. You need to be
Okay.
able to
Okay.
I
do
want
stuff to cast
to
it.
cast sending to the doctor.
Okay.
Specifically, and say we are almost there.
Got it.
Disguise yourself as Strahd. Give Cyrus directions as you see fit.
5 words left.
Are you grouping?
Doodle doo.
Don't screw this up.
All right.
Pleasant.
So you get the ability to respond to that telepathically.
That's up to you if you want to.
If you want to respond.
Give him directions.
Yeah, I'll just respond with.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna respond. Buy
respond?
us a few minutes. Found secret witch chamber. Don't worry, everyone is dead. Not us, just witches. Send tweet.
Okay.
Okay.
So at this point, we'll say that you've made your way inside. Cyrus is starting to climb the stairs. So, Leaf, do you want to interrupt in some way?
So Cyrus,
And he just kind of turns.
Yes.
I forgot to ask before, when you were telling stories, there's one that I like to, it's sort of customary, that I tell people. I'm not great walking and talking, if you know what I mean.
And he just kind of like instinctively looks around.
Could we go up a little bit? I don't like being on the main floor.
Oh yeah, we can go
Just up the stairs a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
That's fine. Okay.
And he just kind of like, you can see him kind of like hurry up the stairs a little bit as if he like, as if he really does not want to be seen on the main floor.
I'll sort of, yeah.
Just buy me a couple minutes. Sir.
Okay, so you're able to buy him a couple minutes easily enough with your plethora of stories.
Dumbass.
The fun
Mushroom
guy.
story.
So,
By the end, he's just like, oh, this idiot.
Les, looking into the room that you are looking into.
Oh, can I have told the party that they're on their way up, so we have limited time?
Sure.
But I want
So you're on a bit of a time crunch here.
Witches give scritches.
All right. So, Les, the low ceiling of this 20-foot square room presses down on you as you saw before. Once lush upholstery sliced to shreds, you imagine by the cat claws of them surviving in here. But otherwise, doesn't appear to be anything of any major interest in the room.
Okay.
Yeah. Doctor, what are you looking
look
at?
in the cauldron.
Look in the cauldron. Okay.
I'm gonna look around the room.
Around the room as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So, in your case, green glowing wisps of steam bubble up from the fat black cauldron in the center of the dark, oppressive room. Surrounding the cauldron are the now dead bodies of several gaunt women in soiled black robes.
Do the
this-
robes look like the one that we saw in the
Very
closet
similar.
downstairs?
Yeah. Now just burned to cinder.
Yeah.
You do notice as well that there were a series of glass jars that were on the floor around them and assorted bits of material that were in front, also now burned. They were most likely tossing things into the cauldron.
I see. presumably whatever they were doing is magical. Do I have any sense of what sort of magic might be coming out of there?
Which magic?
What sort of magic is coming out of there?
Yeah, like what they might have been trying to do, given...
Make an Arcana check.
Okay. Please. Oh, yeah, now we're talking. That is a 23.
23. Looking inside...
Is it poser magic?
It kind of looks like it could be, but then you kind of catch little shimmers of gold floating through it, and the liquid, while it's green, the green seems to almost be turning into slight red with the shimmers of gold, and it looks somewhat familiar. And you kind of instinctively start looking around the room a little bit, with the assistance of everybody, with all of you looking through the cloaks, and you find stoppered small vials, one on each of them of a standard health potion.
6 health potions, baby!
7.
7 health potions, baby!
Yeah, 7 standard potions of healing.
Thank God.
So, hey, Jordy.
Yeah.
You know those flasks I got that used to have the shitty bad potions in them?
Yeah.
I have 10 of those.
Mm-hmm.
Can I empty out 5 of them because I had some water in it and scoop into the thing?
So the vat itself looks like it was getting to the point of being finished, but it was not a full completed set of potions yet.
Oh,
This is just what they were carrying on themselves.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't know because all the components were burned, right?
Correct. The
Oh,
components were
shoot.
burned. You don't know exactly what
was
was
like-
already added in. You
I
have
was
no
like,
idea how to
anything on the
make
floor,
health
I'm gonna
potions.
put in, but
Yeah,
it's all burned.
it's all been burned at this point.
Damn.
So,
Well, that's
but
okay. We have
you do
7.
find 7 standard potions of healing, so you can distribute those as you see fit.
Yo,
Let's,
Mr. Strahd, we need to cook, bitch.
Take one each, save
Let's
the
hold on
rest.
to them for now. We can
Yeah.
distribute them when we get down. But we should probably get back to the guest room and hide the Weaver here.
Not a bad idea.
You do notice as well, looking around the room a little bit more, not visible from the entrance,
look
but
around the room, sorry.
yeah, no worries.
Sorry.
Not really visible from the entrance, but kind of in the limited time you know that you have. You do see that there is a small table behind the cauldron on which sits an open spell book.
I want to read that spell book.
Okay, so you go over, touch the spell book.
Yes.
Can I have my mage hand touch the spell book?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of reach for it, instinctively go, hang on a second. Cast
Oh,
Mage Hand,
God.
start to have Mage Hand flip through, and the spellbook is on the verge of falling apart. Like, you have to be very delicate flipping pages, corners are tearing off of it, it is in very bad disrepair, as if it's probably used as some kind of a reference book when necessary, but the creatures themselves probably knew the better parts of the spells.
Okay. But it didn't seem to do nothing.
Not to the hand as best you can tell.
Okay. I'm gonna take it.
Okay. You lift up the spell book. Okay, seems pretty fine. And you can go to reach into the back of your pocket, and you take
Well, you know,
you take 6 points of psychic damage.
That's fine.
As you just kind of instinctively and like holding the book, you kind of see like little tendrils start to come off of the edges of the book and like latch into your fingers, and then you instinctively just slam the book onto the ground. I'm assuming.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and it just shatters into a million pieces, and a couple of wisps of like what almost look like white and gray tendrils kind of shatter out from within the book.
Okay. Well, that's fine. That's just temporary. Cool. Guys, let's skitter. Let's get
Was there
out.
anything else in the room?
Nothing else in the room.
Let's go back down.
Yeah, let's go back down.
All right, jumping back down through the trapdoor.
Everyone put their hit points back up to full hit points after the Battle Royale, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
No, I'm at 3 right now.
I've been dead this entire time.
Coming
That's
back
twist.
down. Do you leave the trapdoor open? Do you close it?
We'll close it.
So
Close
we
it.
hide every sign that we were.
Hide every sign that you were there. Close the trapdoor. Close the door to that side, and essentially just wait on the bed at this point.
Well, I'm not
Yes.
waiting on that. Well, I'm gonna do an Allura and Helene.
I want to try on the cool new book.
Okay, you try it on. Really short.
Pretty sure.
Yeah, it kind of comes up like mid crotch.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Before
Easier to
we,
clean.
do we think, given where all the tracks were and all that, that thing that was dragged from that corner that's heavy was probably the cauldron?
It was.
Okay, just so I,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, the
Sorry,
circular
that-
base. The circular base of that. By the way, as well, did you put out the fire that was underneath the cauldron? I should just clarify that. Or
Oh,
did you
yeah,
leave it burn?
Probably.
I think probably we would not have left it just burning with a potion in it.
You should never leave a flame unattended. That's just a fun tip for the chat.
All right. So putting out the fire underneath the cauldron, making your way back down through the trapdoor,
And that's
closing
how
that
it's
above
set,
you,
people love
and
it.
then just kind of waiting in that room, leaning sitting. It is a very comfortable feather down mattress. Definitely something that you haven't had in quite
It's
some
not a
time.
waterbed.
No, not a waterbed. But Leaf, you finish your story, and we'll say
You
as
wouldn't
you.
believe how many people confuse mushrooms and other associated fungi with just regular plants. It's a real interesting thing.
So you do as well see that, contrary to most of the people you tell the story to, Cyrus is enraptured. Every detail, he's asking questions, he's wanting you to continue the story. This is someone who clearly does not speak to a lot of people who either he doesn't talk to them in general, or if he does, he probably gets very short answers back. So he kind of appreciates the additional bit of communication. So,
Thanks, Cyrus.
you begin to make your way up. You travel up about 40 feet or so. There is a doorway, but Cyrus just ignores that completely. It's just a closed door, and he begins to spiral up again. A second doorway, about another 20 feet, 30 feet up, and then spiral up another 30, 40 feet up, and you eventually come to a very large, ornate rug in front of you. And he kind of just instinctively just puts his hands out to the side and just goes, "It's a dick." And then he just kind of shuffles along the hall, making sure not to touch the rug.
The rug's alive.
It's a dick.
It's a dick.
I mean, I think he means personality-wise, not literally
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
physiognomy or.
It's a dick.
I thought it was a fun novelty
It's shaped
rug.
like a dick and it's alive.
Yeah.
It's a big 10 by 10 foot square rug, and he just kind of instinctively stays right at the edge of it, purposely not touching it, and all of you kind of follow suit, just following along the side of the hall, making sure that you don't touch that rug. So you eventually come to the side of the door. Everybody is inside the room, spread out as you so choose, and everybody wandering inside. You two just kind of a little out of breath from a 100-foot vertical stair climb.
Allura and
In full
I would have
play.
maybe said to her before they came up, like, he doesn't know that we're here. He never saw us. Let's try and. Is there a spot in the room that we could kind of like hide as well?
Oh yeah.
Under the
yeah.
bed, maybe.
Oh, yeah, real quick.
Like rascals.
Well, yeah, so you've got some time to prepare this. So obviously you've got the main guest bed, the gigantic
Go
one
on
with
to
a
the
couple
bed,
of chairs
that's
there.
hilarious.
You had the waiting room where Jensen was, and obviously now one of the couches there has been torn a little bit from his anger. It's up to you where you want to be. kind of
Yeah,
thing.
that's fine. I'm just gonna find a spot to hide.
Yeah,
Probably under the bed or
Let's find a spot to hide.
behind a door
I
or
would
something.
like to be waiting in the room where Jensen was,
Okay.
disguised as Strahd.
Okay. How tall are you?
How tall is he? I think he's 5'7".
Yeah.
Yeah.
5'7"?
You know, I like to be,
Yeah, because you can go up or down 1 foot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. You can make yourself to be about Strahd's height. And
Did I pretend to
some
be his
middle-
manservant?
What? Okay, sure.
Sure, you pretend to be his manservant.
Gross.
You know what I meant. Okay.
You're dressed in full armor and everything, so.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Never mind.
You kind of think about it, you just like put a hand out and just be like,
Yeah.
wait, I'm in my
I
armor.
think that.
Yeah, probably
Cyrus,
makes sense.
that is Cyrus's role, I
Just to
think.
be like his little assistant bag.
Yeah, I would have also been.
Just this one time
Do you
I
want
missed
me to
Strahd.
roll?
So you two are hiding?
Yeah.
Stealth checks for me, please. Les, are you hiding or are you invisible?
I guess I'm hiding.
I'm going to say with the amount of time that's passed from when you first entered into the castle, yeah, it would still be active.
An hour.
I'll give you probably about another
This
20
has
minutes
been
on
an
that.
hour.
Great, because I rolled 5.
That's when I roll. I don't know.
Hold an hour.
24.
24?
Last 40 minutes.
I don't know why I'm hiding, but I'm hiding.
Okay.
Natural
Oh,
20.
the reason that we're hiding is because he never saw us originally. He saw you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're still
So
hiding.
we're trying to hide, yeah.
Just so that he doesn't know how many people are up here.
Oh, I
He
see.
never
what
saw
you're
us in the
saying.
hallway. Although
That's
yeah, we're both
true.
hidden.
Okay,
so that's why
so
we're
I don't
hiding
have to
now.
hide.
Yeah,
You don't have
no.
to hide.
So you
I'll
can just
stand there.
stand beside Strahd.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so now.
Hello, Governor. It's me.
He's a pretty cool guy. He
Alrighty.
makes a lot of solid points about
39.
39 and 24. Okay. So you two hiding as best you can in the room. It is fairly well lit, but you're able to find a couple of corners that you're able to sink into fairly easily. A couple of minutes pass by. Doctor, you kind of just like tapping your foot, waiting, and you eventually do hear from the outside, "It's a dick," and then shuffle along beside the rug, and then he comes up to the side of the door and knocks on the door,
Enter.
and you kind of hear a little bit of trepidation of, "Oh." Door opens inward, and Cyrus is just kind of standing there, lantern held aloft, a little bit lower, and him looking a little more meek and kind of hunched than he normally would. Master, I did not expect to.
Cyrus, why is my window broken?
I
Do you know who's up here all the time, Cyrus?
Well, you always ask for meals. Well, not always, but you used
Jensen is always up here. Cyrus, where is Jensen?
I don't know. He was here when I brought him his lunch, or his breakfast. I have been
not here
downstairs
now, is he?
No, he isn't. I'm sorry, master. And he instinctively grabs the side of the wood frame door and just starts slamming his head
Cyrus?
against that. And he just kind of continues and just
Cyrus.
his eyes are a little cross-eyed and he's got blood trickling down the center of his face now.
Settle down, Cyrus.
I feel partial. I feel very
Have you brought the other guests?
Yes, they were wandering downstairs. I'm sorry if you gave them permission to be down.
Cyrus, they have full permission to move about the castle.
Make a perception or a persuasion check.
I'm just standing there awkwardly like I've been charmed person.
Yeah, okay, that'll do. 19.
19. What's your spell save DC?
19.
19. He just kind of instinctively just kind of looks at you a little and then just looks a little closer and he starts to make his way into the room.
Cyrus, are you questioning my authority?
Your friends are here. And he just turns around and starts to walk away.
Oh.
Well, guys, do we want to kill Cyrus?
Kind of.
I mean, it's on you.
You guys are
I'm
the ones
hidden under the bed somewhere.
He's
Yeah.
5 feet from the edge of the door, about to make his way out of the room. 2 of you are hidden inside the room. You're in plain view. You're in plain view. The 5 of you are outside.
Yeah.
Like it's.
You know what? Yeah, I've had it with this guy. Hey, I'm gonna turn to Les and be like, hey, buddy.
Own it! And I grab him.
Go and make an athletics check, trying to grapple.
No, push him onto the rug.
Oh, yeah. Wait, that's
No,
what
they
we
don't
are.
know. They don't
No,
know.
we heard
And
the
we
rug's
don't
a
know
dick.
Oh, that's true.
Well,
No,
we
you
know
don't
it
know. You
was.
heard the rug's
Yeah.
a dick, but you don't know what the context is.
Well, we're not even really near it, are we?
You're in the other room.
We don't know
You
what
have
it
to like
is.
pick him up, grab him, and toss him.
Right,
out.
so far I've
Or
grabbed
out the
him.
window.
Well, no, you're
shit.
You're
Oh,
try-
shit!
You're trying to
No,
grab
no,
him.
we need to hide his body so Strahd doesn't know that he's dead.
Yeah, it makes him look like.
What is it again?
Like, he
Athletics.
doesn't
Oh
know that
shit!
he's-
He rolled well.
This is not what I was
This is
expecting.
not going to be good. I got a 10.
Yeah, he got a natural 19.
No, wait, no.
No.
Oh, yeah, no, it's not going to be 10. It wasn't 10. It was 12.
12. Hang on. Yeah, that's definitely not enough. You go to reach out for him and you kind of grab onto his shoulders, but he's a little used to being hunched, and so you kind of grab him and he just slinks down through your shoulders and just kind of turns back and then just starts to make his way down and leaps up over the rug. He tries to pass by all of you. So you all
Can
get
I
attacked.
gust of wind him into...
No,
like,
it's your action to try and grapple him. That's all you've got.
Oh,
So
I-
he's starting to haul. So you two have got something that
Yeah.
you potentially can do. We're gonna roll initiative in this instance. It's for everyone. So
As we all kind of
9 on 1.
Wow.
Action economy dictates.
Yeah, this is going to be a very difficult fight.
Wish I grabbed him.
Okay. So initiative for him. Oh shit, he rolled well. And then initiative for the other
Cyrus is
3.
about to just
Do we know
Oh,
what-
never mind. The party rolled great. Natural 20, natural 17,
Cyrus
natural
is gonna be
15.
like the Henrik.
So 25 to 20.
20.
Yeah. Okay. So you're going before him. He
17.
rolled an 18. So anybody
Oh, I
above
rolled an
18.
18.
So 18 and above is
Okay.
moving before him.
Okay.
That's Casimir, Victor, and Esmeralda. Leith.
Can I say something as a metagame thing? You can do damage, but like non-lethal.
Yeah, you can bring him to 0 hit
Yeah,
points and just
knock
knock
down.
him
Just so we
unconscious
know. Just
if you
so we
want to.
know.
Yeah.
If anyone's
So-
like humming and hawing.
So top of the round, funnily enough, is Esmeralda. She has no idea what's going on. She just starts to see a guy begin to make his way and a whole bunch of noise happening, and then kind of looks up at the really creepy visage of whatever that portrait is. So she's just holding her turn, kind of weapons at the ready, but not sure what's going on. You're up next.
I'm assuming he's kind of like within movement.
He's
from
5
me?
feet from exiting the door. He's essentially at the door frame.
Okay, I will. He's small.
Yeah.
I'm gonna run over and like grapple him, try and lift him off the ground, and sort of like, well, actually he doesn't know I'm there, so it's kind of a surprise attack. So I'm just gonna like leap out of the shadows and try to like get a chokehold on him and like lift him up.
Okay, make an athletics check. Try and grapple him.
He's a slippery little
I believe
rascal.
in you.
Athletics.
Oh, okay.
Fuck.
That is a 12.
Cyrus is genuinely
It's
getting
a
Nice.
slippery
9.
little bastard.
You just kind of reach out and try and grab him, but he doesn't have much of a neck, and you instinctively just kind of grab the neck, and his face just slides right between your arm as he's now starting to make his way down. That was your turn. You had 18, Hope. Anybody else have 18 or higher?
No, I have 16.
No?
What about Victor?
Victor and Casimir both did. So they're kind of starting to see what's going on a little. Technically, next up is actually Casimir. Casimir doesn't really have anything that he's going to do, so he's just kind of going to block the door a little. And Hope, it's your turn.
Could we? How much have we heard through this? Because we didn't. Go
You heard the whole conversation, right? You heard the interaction between quote-unquote Strahd, which you knew was probably the doctor. Given the amount of time, I assume you probably would have said something. And then the recognition of that's not Strahd, and him just get really frustrated and turn around and leave because now you're all in the guest room, so he's done his job.
Because
Bash him on the head and knock him out.
what's the... You would have been out... No, actually, no. We're way past this.
Yeah.
But,
So, Hope, what are you doing?
Dude, murder.
Yeah.
You can push by... Casimir is currently blocking the door. So you can push by Casimir to kind of get in there and engage with him if you wanted to.
So Casimir is blocking the door. Did you say?
Yeah, he's currently blocking the door.
So the door wouldn't be able to move at all for Cyrus to get out.
Well, no, sorry. The door is open. Casimir is blocking the
I don't
doorway.
think Casimir is the strongest
Yeah,
to
so
like
you can
prevent this
probably
guy from getting through.
Can I kind of go forward and close? Which way does the door go?
The door opens into the room, and it's fully open at this point. So he is essentially blocking the
Okay.
door from even being closed.
Yeah, I feel. Sorry, dude. I'm gonna try and.
just cold
You
call.
can knock him out instead of like
Yeah.
stabbing him too.
Knock him out with a stand-up.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and knock him out by like hitting him on the head with my sword.
Okay, go ahead and make an attack roll against him.
Oh, whack-a-mole.
So this will be for you. It's plus 10 to hit.
Yeah. So that's an 18.
That'll hit. Roll damage, full damage, because you're still trying to knock him unconscious. So you have to deal
Yeah.
enough damage to
Just
do
get
that.
his, like, one or whatever.
And it'll be in your case plus 6 to damage.
So that's 12.
12. Okay. First attack, he takes it. Definitely still hurt. And there's a fair bit of blood coming out. And he's just kind of like looking up at you and just being like kind of not realizing what's going on. Like people are actually attacking him now. Make your second attack.
Plus 10.
Yep.
13.
Okay. Damage. It's not hard to
He's a
hit.
tiny dog creature.
Yeah. He's a little slippery.
Don't feel bad. He's from
And you said plus 6.
Plus 6. Yeah.
So that's 14.
14. Okay. So in the 2 strikes, you just kind of cleave, and him just kind of like not really sure what's going on,
Well,
takes the
like
second
more
hit. Yeah,
not
it's
like-
you still have to do enough damage to
It's a
drop him,
hollow
right?
sound.
So it's very much like the first one. You kind of like stop him in his tracks as he like runs onto the blade a little bit and like kind of stumbles back a bit. You take the butt end of the sword and just do a double overhand and crack him on the top of the head, and he just crumples to the ground. He is unconscious at 0 hit points, making death saving throws.
Okay, I'm gonna just scoot over and like stabilize him.
Okay, so using spare the
Spare the
dying.
dying, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so spare the dying. You just reach your hand out, and his breathing kind of, and it shallows a little bit, but he's definitely going to survive. And he's going to wake up in a couple hours.
Why have a convenient place we can leave this little fucker?
Hey, nice to see y'all.
Hey, how you
Hey.
doing,
By
bud?
the way, thank you, doctor.
Switching back.
All right.
Hey, I'm Cyrus. Hey, I'm Doctor. Hey, I'm Strahd.
Oh god, I feel bad. I didn't.
You did what you had to do.
It was him or us.
There's nothing you can do.
First things first, healing potions.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll distribute them
We found a
amongst the
bunch.
party. Maybe
Two.
the extra one we should give to like one of the NPCs.
Yeah.
Victor?
Victor pulls out. He's got one of his own
Okay,
already
is
that
there
was
anyone who
provided to him. The one person who doesn't is Casimir.
Casimir, yeah.
I have 2 already. How's everyone else?
Yeah, I
for-
had 2
I
already.
don't-
so
I don't
I
have
had
any.
3.
I
What?
think.
Oh, no, I have one.
Wait, you
There's
should have
at least
one.
I have one.
Yeah, I've got
I've
one.
got one.
Okay.
I'll take a second one. Oh, they're just regular ones. Yeah, Jordan?
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
each get one then, and we'll give one to Casimir
Yeah.
then. Okay.
Sassy.
Okay. So Casimir's got one.
Let's put Cyrus in the fucking cat room.
What?
Oh, there's a cap room.
You just kind of
upstairs.
see all three of the NPCs just go.
I mean, we killed a
What?
bunch of witches.
Yeah. So
You killed what?
So real quick.
Yeah, what's going on here?
Went upstairs. There was like a witch lair, real hot topicy. We went up there. Bunch of them exploded because I blew them up, and there were some cats. Those are also blown up now. Don't worry about it. It's clear.
Also, there's this like weird portrait here of this guy who looks like Strahd but isn't. And we met Jensen.
Oh,
who...
wait a minute.
Wait.
Knowing about the brother, well, like, that might be Strahd's brother. We learned about that guy through Cyrus, who's actually a really nice guy. I do feel pretty bad about that. But,
We didn't kill him.
we didn't, no.
We really could have killed him.
We could try and
So
turn
wait,
him.
Strahd has a
Still
brother?
kill him.
Oh,
I'm
Yeah.
a big fan.
Because this is like a guy who looks like Strahd, but he's alive and the sun's shining on him and whatnot, and he has family crest is different.
Is his name Joan?
There's no. You were there, and no, there's no name.
Just like.
Okay.
Does it look like this
And-
painting is really old?
Secondly, Jensen, the guy who was in the cage with us at the beginning, is
So you remember Jensen?
here.
Really
he's
hot dude.
Strahd's little love muffin, and he's very upset that Strahd hasn't been paying attention to him.
Okay.
And we told him about Irina.
We told him.
Okay.
But hey, good news. He doesn't know a name.
Where did
He has the doll.
where was
Oh,
the,
that's fine. He'll
No,
be
we
fine.
didn't leave him with the doll.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, you did. You
Yeah,
gave him the
so-
doll. He never gave it back.
So
And then he
like,
jumped out the window.
Went off with this doll and
With knowledge
is he
of-
going
When
to...
you put it like that,
He gave him the doll. He jumped out a window and vanished from
He
sight.
seemed very mad at Strahd, so I'm hoping he's gonna go and be like, "Hey, Strahd, honey, we have
right?
to talk."
Hopefully, he doesn't just go murder Irina.
Yeah.
That'll
Also,
be fine.
he doesn't know where she is.
It's true.
It's true.
But you said
Again,
a
not
tie
good.
maker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, there's a bunch of
Well, Bensky's fucked, but that's fine.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Look, okay, this just puts sort of a rush on everything.
Yeah.
That we already had.
So I guess we might have incidentally murdered a few folks, but
I mean, yeah, they weren't allowed to begin with. Fuck 'em.
I don't mean to be that guy, but I did say we could have moved Irina.
No, we couldn't
my
move
God.
Irina.
that was the safest place for her.
That was,
They need to be voted in anyway.
Well,
Jordy's
guys,
crying!
it's the safest. It's the safest place. It's fine.
Oh my God.
There's a toy maker, and this is the girl, and she loves him, and he loves her, and oh my god, here you go. And he just jumps out a window, he's gonna kill everyone.
It's the safest place. You guys said it. It's fine.
He's
Don't
the
worry.
secret after boss.
You know
of
what? There's
Strahd.
nothing we can do
Oh,
about it right
bro,
now.
I know
Anyway,
who
we
the
have to
next
focus on the
campaign
mission
boss
at
is.
hand.
Look, just...
At the very least, it's another pair of fangs that's out of this
Yeah,
castle.
we need to.
okay.
We have a mission.
Yeah,
and
he
we
had
have.
fangs, by
We
the way.
can't.
We'll deal with
There's
Jensen
nothing
later.
we can do about that.
Extremely news
I
to
didn't
me.
think he gave the doll. I thought we showed
No,
him
he
the
held
doll.
the doll and looked at it, and then he got really
Doctor!
pissed. He went to the window, and then he put a foot in his black. He put his
Yeah,
planted
it's
his
like
back
that
foot
whole like
and leaped.
Superman jump out the window.
Yeah, and he landed 40 feet down on a rooftop and just ran out of sight.
What? How is it? I did not expect the encounter to go that way.
God, I love it.
Okay, either way.
But the good news
Either
is,
way.
Hey, either
there's a
way.
vampire who's
Okay,
not
let's
in
go.
the castle
All right,
anymore.
so-
Is everyone?
So you
That's
take
every-
Cyrus upstairs
Yeah, lock
through
him
the
in the
trapdoor,
cat room.
lock him where?
The cat room.
In the cat room. Okay, so the door
We're
doesn't lock,
locking him in here.
and it
Doesn't-
opens inward towards that room. So
Right.
how are you locking him in there?
Opens inward.
Um.
And the other door opens inward as well, doesn't it?
Correct.
Okay.
Could we not take a spike and like wedge it?
No, because
No,
the door opens
door
in.
opens.
Well, let's put him into the cat room and then let's wedge the trap door
Oh,
exit.
yeah.
Because the trap door opens down, so
Sure.
we'll
Yeah.
put a
Yeah.
metal
Also, you can use
spike
a metal
into
spike
the,
into
yeah.
that. Sure. That's fine. Who wants to do that?
He's a
I
carpet
will do that.
All right. Let's.
Okay.
I mean,
Or
the
I'll
copper
give
did.
my spike to Hope because Hope is stronger than I.
I have proficiency in carpentry. Quack quack.
Quack quack.
Here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Thank you.
let's go and make carpentry check at advantage. Woodworking tools check at advantage. So that's woodworking.
The days when I used to make just my own.
So that's strength plus proficiency. So plus 8 for you.
Oh, that's bad.
At advantage. he
At
said.
advantage.
Oh, good.
Yeah, because someone's helping.
At
Good.
Plus 8.
Yeah, 18 plus 8.
So
26.
26. Okay, so no issues there. You kind of stand up a little bit. Hope kind of helps you stand on their shoulders, and you just boom, 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 slam the spike in, and then kind of realize, second one will do. Boom, boom,
Yeah,
boom,
we have a
and it's
couple.
really secure that no one's getting through that, as best you can tell. All right.
Thank
So
you.
now you are in the
Yeah,
guest
I
room.
feel like maybe we should should have left a note for him.
with
No.
half the party knowing the way back down to where you first started, and the other half knowing that there's an elevator around the outside door.
Okay, let's assume we
Oh,
all fill
okay.
each other in on our various ways of getting up here.
Okay. So, biggest things is the staircase going up. None of you have any idea what is there.
Nope.
You were told to avoid the rug at all costs. Downstairs, you're able to follow that back down to the main entry area, and then from there, back out through the main gate and around the side door to kind of get back into where
So
you
can
were.
we basically end exactly where we started this?
No, because we still have to get you back downstairs.
I mean, can't we just use the elevator and use a little lever thing that we know is there?
You don't know where the elevator lever is.
We know it's somewhere in the middle, but we don't know how to get
And we
it.
have
Correct.
no way to get there.
And you have no way to get there, you have no idea where it is.
We could, I mean, far be it from me to be the one to suggest this, but we could fast track our way down and just say we follow the people who know the way back down.
Oh yeah, you can do that, but
What if we run into something or someone?
Mm-hmm.
Pass without trace is like done now.
I would say by this point with the amount of time,
Yeah.
yeah, it's done.
So how can we? Wait, I'm just.
So
Sorry, I'm
you
going
can
on-
make your way back down. You're just gonna go back through all the same things that
So
we
wait,
did
with the
before.
elevator though.
Yeah.
Because we got out of there into this room to begin with.
Yeah.
So if we go, but we know there's a lever in that elevator somewhere.
No,
No.
the
No,
elevator
it's not
is
in the
so
elevator.
it's a 250-foot shaft. The elevator lever is halfway up.
We just saw the.
You
we
just
passed
saw it as you passed by. You were unconscious the whole
Gotcha.
time. You have
Yeah.
no clue. You see a stone room that you woke up in, and you have no idea
So we
what
have
happened.
no idea how far down it is because it's pitch black.
You know roughly it's about 120 feet down, give or take.
And we don't have enough rope for that.
There's no way for you to
No.
get down because the elevator is perched at the top, and you can't
The
push it
elevator
down.
fills the
Yeah.
space around it. There's no way to get to either side of it, and there's no trapdoor on the bottom. So we basically it's just impassable for this purpose.
Yeah.
All right.
There's the chain though, right?
The chain is now vanished into the ceiling because there's no. Oh, actually, no. Sorry, that's not
No.
true. Sorry. Yeah, you would be able to kind of climb because there is a little bit of a gap where it doesn't fully marry up with the ceiling. You would theoretically be able to cut the chain if you wanted to, but then you'd be falling 250 feet vertically, straight
Oh,
down.
no, we can cut it and then see down.
No,
If
the
we
elevator
cut
is
it, the
attached to
elevator
the
would fall.
chain. If you cut the chain, the elevator falls.
So the elevator would fall all the way down to the bottom, but the shaft above the elevator would now be free to explore down if we wanted to.
Correct.
There's
It's
no way to
100.
do
It's
that,
a
though,
250 feet straight
if the
vertical
chain
with
is
smooth
gone.
stone walls.
Or
Yeah.
there are stairs.
They're, like this is we're thinking too much about this. That's a
Yeah.
Like
lot of
it's
stairs.
doable, but you're straight up like John McClane in it.
And that window that's open with like the rooftops and everything, there's
Do
no way to
we-
like traverse down there.
You'd have to
there
jump
any-
40 feet down onto a rooftop that you don't know if it's going to hold your weight.
Is there anyone who has the ability to make us like
Featherfall.
yeah or like transport down slowly?
I think we're missing that ability just yet.
I got Dimension Door, but that'll be
One, two,
For
three.
yeah. Yeah.
That's you plus one.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's
Let's
go down
stealthily
these
go
stairs.
down the stairs.
Yeah.
All right.
Elias, are you able to
Do we
give
want
us
to maybe rest up for an hour to get spells? Do you
No,
get spells on
I don't
that?
get spells, but I don't.
and we
I don't think we
the
can
only you're the
afford it.
only person that's
Right.
down.
How
We
much?
can't waste a short rest
Cyrus
when
just waking up.
Well, we are on borrowed time as soon as when we're in here
yeah.
with Strahd finding out where we are.
Yeah, I think we'll take that short rest when we absolutely need it.
Mhm.
How are you doing it?
Oh, I have no spell.
Oh, okay.
He's
But
flying,
no
he's
one else,
fireball.
like it's
Let's
not
go,
going to
we're going
benefit
downstairs.
anybody else,
Okay.
right?
We're going downstairs.
We're gonna stealth for now, and then we'll see where we're at before. The idea is to try and get to where Strahd is, and maybe we can try and find a spot to rest before that. But I don't think this is the place to do it.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
So make your way down. Are you casting Pass Without Trace again?
Yeah.
Okay. So Pass Without Trace becomes active. I need everybody to roll stealth checks for me, please.
I'm now like it's getting stressful. Can we? Is this?
Not quite yet. Okay.
30.
30.
15.
19.
25.
Is it plus 10 still?
Yep.
Yeah.
28. Oh,
24.
24.
I
Okay.
rolled a 2.
Vic, you're gonna screw the pooch.
You rolled a 2.
Nope, not Victor. Victor rolled moderately okay. Casimir, however, is a little on the
Yeah,
lower
bang
side.
up thumbs.
He's not super bad, but there's definitely a little bit of clacking as he's making his way down the stairs, as the bones on his feet are starting to impact against the stonework. You do start to make your way down, 40 feet down to that first doorway. All of you who've passed by it once just pass by it again. The rest of you notice that there is a third floor landing, essentially, that you could make your way onto if you so choose. Down to the second floor. Again, second floor landing you could make your way onto. Continuing back down onto the first floor, and that organ music begins to pull up again, just kind of permeating every wall, cracking, slipping under every crack in that one door that is brilliantly lit from the other side. You're not sure what's there, but there's a hell of a lot of music coming from the other side of that room.
That's fine.
Okay.
You
push your way past that, back into the great hallway. In this, you look up at the 4 pillars and you see those dragon statues standing on them. The glass-like eyes are visible. And you instinctively kind of watch around, checking for anything. Elith, you kind of looking up above, having not seen those statues before. The firelight flickers in their eyes, and then you kind of like take a second to look at them, and in unison, they all blink. And then each of them leap off the edge of the small platform 40 feet up, landing on the ground with a heavy thud, the beating of their wings dispersing the dying torches before they land on the ground, crouching low, hissing and spitting while the gray coloring fades to reveal a small green, red, blue, and white dragon-like creature. And that's where we're going to cut today's episode off.
Damn, definitely should have had a disguise self as Cyrus.
So,
ifs and buts were candy and nuts.
today definitely did not go the direction anyone expected. There was a
Victor, this
hell
is
of a lot
all
of
his
laughter.
fault.
We had no expectation of. We were like,
Right,
I don't know.
This is the thing is, it might not have been because the same thing could have happened. You could have opened the door and a bunch of people could have wandered into the room and maybe 4 of you or 6 of you got shunted upstairs. You're not sure. Right? It could have gone in a whole bunch of different directions. So, thanks everybody so much for watching. It was an awesome episode tonight. I was very, very stoked. We had a ton of people in chat, like Blades of Greyguard, Miss Pokemon 420, and where are you, Graham? Hey guys, thank you so much for joining in. Huge amount of conversation. We appreciated all the laughs. It's been amazing for us. Yeah, but definitely a cool episode and kind of a neat little alter side to the Castle Zarevich.
Yeah,
That is not
Castle
what
Ravenloft.
our plan. Our plan was to go downstairs.
Hey, to be fair, you wasted an hour. It's far from the worst thing in the world, but now you're back down in the center of this room and you got these 4 dragon-like creatures, which I can show you because I've 3D printed them.
Whoa!
They are quite small.
Little tiny guys.
So cute.
Yeah, they're essentially.
Should have been friends.
These are dragon wormlings. They're not full-grown dragons, but they are baby dragons essentially.
Baby dragons.
Dragon.
I tame one and it is my pet.
Into it. Let's kill some baby dragons.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have the rest of those 2 printed off next week, and I'm gonna have them all colored in, and you're gonna have your first real dragon fight, kind of.
Nah.
Nah.
No.
Dragon?
No, you didn't.
We
You did the had the door open.
Guys, that's how we fight these ones.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Thank you everybody so much for watching again. We will see you guys back here in 1 week. Everybody's back at the table, right? We're going to
Yeah.
Starting March off. Right. Awesome. So we'll see you guys in 1 week. Bye.
That was some wild
Actually,
shit.
didn't kill himself.